Last time, on Asmiliath adventures, we pick up as the party is made aware of the immediate problem that faces them. Adam has been informed that to get down to the Dwarven Highways, the Golden Hearts have to make their way through the 3rd level of Bronze Shard. This wouldn't be a problem except for the fact that level 3 is run by a gang known as the Bronze Fists, who just so happen to have a deep-rooted disdain for anyone who isn't a dwarf. Rolly, hoping that this problem would be taken care of by the council, sends Adam up to Mother's Helm Temple in hopes of obtaining a pass through level 3. Adam eagerly agrees and is accompanied by Valoran. As Rolly and Thor go through their morning greetings, Jarek descends from upstairs with an unusually put-together appearance. Having taken the time to clean his garments, Jarek adopts a more noble demeanor in an attempt to prepare for the adventures in Folk. After a few perplexed comments, Valoran and Adam return from their trip, lacking the pass from the council they had hoped for. Discussing a few options, Rolly decides to go meet with the leader of the Bronze Fists, Gorn Bronzehand, to see if they can come to some sort of arrangement on getting a passage through the 3rd level. As Rolly departs, Jarek and Thor broach the topic of the Corel murder, yet again. After an incredibly fruitful conversation with Gorn, Rolly discovers that only way they will get passage with Gorn is to murder the rival gang leader. Shooting that down immediately, Rolly challenges Gorn and agrees to a fight of champions. With this new knowledge, Rolly returns back to the party and explains the situation. The discussion is short, as everyone unanimously agrees that their fiercest warrior Jarek would be the party's champion. His immense power and combat prowess far exceeds any of the other Golden Heart members. Only once Jarek soils himself in fear does the party actually agree on putting forth Thor as their champion, quickly making preparations to go down to level 2, level 3, and face Bronze Fist's combatant. Upon arrival, it is revealed that Gorn himself will be fighting, stating the rules of no magic and betting Thor's life on his victory. With the terms agreed to, a crowd gathers and the duel begins. Centering around a test of strength, the two warriors attempt to shove the other outside the boundary ring. Shifting back and forth as the contest continues, only once Gorn lands a debilitating blow around Thor's throat does he gain the upper hand, eventually throwing the Goliath from the ring and onto the floor. With the match decided and some bitter words exchanged, the gang begins to herd the party towards the center of the city, with the goal of hurling Thor into the deadly drop. As the party frantically attempts to devise a plan to stop the death of their companion, Valoran forces the attention to be turned to himself, before revealing that Thor knows the location of Mother's Hammer, a relic of the first Mother religion that is rumored to have forged the first of the Dwarven race. Way too many firsts in that sentence. This revelation is enough to pause the commotion, as Gorn questions the doomed Goliath, genuinely surprised to find that he speaks the truth. Shifting gears quickly, Gorn makes a deal with Thor, that he will let him live if he retrieves the hammer for himself. Once agreed, Gorn sends his right-hand man Terry to accompany the party until they deal the scene through. Attempting to come to terms with the close proximity to death, the Golden Hearts finally make their way through level 3 and descend the residential spirals down towards the Dwarven Highways. It is the evening of July 23rd, as the group mostly move in silence towards the Bronze Legion fort, the squeaking wheels of their wagon announcing their arrival, the thick stone walls and metal gate looming above the Golden Hearts as a line of heavily armored dwarves address them from above. So you guys have now approached that kind of fortification that you were heading towards at the end of last session. A very straight cut, almost more practical than ornate dwarven structure, kind of differentiating itself from the Bronze Shard kind of elegant architecture that you kind of see in the previous days. There is probably about 20 or so dwarves up on the battlements of the wall that's right in front of you. They're all dressed in this very modest dark black plate mail armor that covers basically every single inch of their skin except for their faces. And you see that these dwarves, compared to the other dwarves that you've kind of, functioned around generally in society, have almost ghostly white, pale skin. Rolly, you would know that that's kind of where the name the Pale Legion stems from, is the dwarves down in the depths that guard the Dwarven Highways have very pale skin due to never seeing the surface for the majority of their lives. But the Golden Heart wagon is kind of approached. There's a myriad of Pale Legion warriors kind of staring down at you. None of them have really called out or addressed you as of yet, as some of them are kind of talking amongst themselves up on the wall. Adam is sat next to Terry on the wagon, kind of just anxiously looking around, and everyone's just kind of gathered in front of this probably about 30 or 40 foot tall giant iron gate that guards the interior of the fortification. So, is there anything that you guys are doing as you wait for some sort of address?
Rolly would be visibly quiet, not, if you were to have been familiar with his face at this point, you could see that he was just obviously angry, but hadn't said much and isn't saying much right now, just approaching where we're at.
Gotcha. So you guys are probably left to sit there for about 5 or 10 minutes as you do hear a lot more of like metal clattering going around before eventually another dwarf that you haven't seen yet kind of approaches the battlement and leans over. You see him looking over the group, looking at Terry in the wagon and then Rolly over on his horse, just kind of seeing the mixture of races, which is, again, rather not commonplace. Don't know what word that is, but down here in the Pale Legion, you don't see much except dwarves. So after kind of glancing over what makes up the party, he turns his attention to Rolly, kind of assuming that he is the best one to address in this situation, and calls out in Dwarvish, "Are you, looking for passage in the highways?"
Yes.
May I ask your business and who you are?
Our business is our own. I'm Rolly Halfbeard.
Well, it's been quite some time since we've had Halfbeard down here. All right. And you see him kind of turn around, gesturing to a couple of the dwarves nearby, and you begin hearing this loud, mechanical, kind of clunking noise coming from inside the walls, and slowly the metal gate begins to open inwards into the fortification. You see inside now, with a view of kind of the courtyard of this fort, there's a plethora of kind of what you would imagine would be like barracks buildings and training yards and, equipment that would be used in some sort of defensive siege or, of the like. You see a lot of the kind of bronze shard mechanical instruments that you've grown rather used to the last couple days traveling through this dwarven society. But the doors eventually open up all the way. There's probably about 30 or 40 of the the Bronze Legion members kind of milling about. Some of them give you kind of curious looks. A few of them are kind of marching in order and are very devoutly keeping their attention forward. But the dwarf that addressed you on the battlement eventually makes his way down to the gate, kind of coming up and opening up his arms. He goes, "Well, Halfbeard, come on in and we shall get you sorted then."
My thanks.
So the wagon would start moving forward, kind of bringing everybody into the courtyard itself. There is what you would kind of relate as like a castle structure off to the east, with a bunch of multiple layered fortifications guarding that as well. As you finally get inside, you're allowed to see past the fortification that you're in. The wall that's facing the Dwarven Hallways is this massive 100-foot tall wall of stone, and in the middle of the wall is a giant replica of the bronze gate at the entrance to Bronze Shard up at the surface. It's about 3/4 the size and a little less ornamented than the one up on the surface. There's still that similar mechanical fingers kind of grabbing over the metal of the gate, and you see past it as the gate is left open currently. There's a giant pit, a bottomless pit that probably stretches about 200 or 300 feet off in the general direction of the Dwarven Highways as you know it. But you're left in the courtyard basically as the dwarf that was addressing you is approaching, kind of looking around, checking out who's there, looking at the wagon, not really, asking any questions or doing much, just kind of making sure that nothing fishy is going on. So were you all doing anything in particular at this point?
I'd make sure everyone was grouped up. Give instructions not to stray off from the group.
eventually, after kind of getting the gist of you, the dwarf that approached you at first kind of walks up beside you, Rolly, looks you up and down one last time, and goes, "Well, it's late into the evening currently. You could spend the night here. We can find you a guide for the morning, or we can send you out for the night. Are you aware of the rates and the contract that you must sign to go through the highways? Have you been through before?"
Last time I came through, I was an acolyte, and I was not in charge of any sort of contracts. No, I'm not aware.
Well, we can certainly get you aware of that. I'd then recommend that you spend the night, and we shall get you all set up in the morning.
Fair enough.
We can set up some temporary rooms for you in one of the barracks. I will get some of my men on it, and I will try and find the most reasonable guide for you. Where is your destination? Rolly, you would know that to get to Folk, to go through the tunnels and out on the other side of the Surbat Mountains, the town of West Point is the town that connects with the Folkish town on the surface. So you'd be traveling there to then get out of the Dwarven Highways.
We'll need to travel with all speed to West Point.
Oh, you are going far west, I see. Well, that can certainly be done. I will try and find one of my scouts that is best suited for the west. But I'll certainly get you settled in. Try to make yourself comfortable while you are here.
Thank you.
He then moves away from you, and he begins kind of like ordering a couple of the grunts, more or less, that are moving around to do, various tasks. A lot of them kind of heading to this barrack, kind of on the far side of the fort. You see him be like moving a few beds in, taking furniture out, that kind of thing. But you are, again, just kind of left to your own devices for the meantime, as things are kind of being prepped for you. So, Valorant, I would imagine, since you're probably the most in tune with your mount at this point, once you guys kind of reach the lowest level of Bronze Shard, that last spiral that kind of leads to the road that connects to the fort, and now that you can see that you're on the same level as the Dwarven Highway, all of the horses that, are used to sunlight and green fields and, grazing throughout the day, have seemed to get a bit more skittish. The ones drawing the wagon, Belgreaves beneath you, the other horses carrying your companions, they seem almost tense, on edge, having a distinctly different feel as you kind of, have them move from right to left or maneuver through the courtyard. There's just an air of uncertainty with all of them.
Pat Belgreaves' neck and kind of lean closer to his ears and say, "It's up to you, boy. You'll have to show the others how to be courageous down here."
You see him kind of like leaning his neck into your grip and then like kind of prominently standing a bit taller, kind of like digging his hoof into the stonework a little bit, and then kind of, I don't know, rearing his head to kind of just draw a bit more attention to himself.
"You're the stud, right? Herd leader."
Thor, Jarek, are you doing anything during this time?
I think Jarek would be giving a dog a prayer, as he has shown Jarek multiple times. Jarek ending up in a lightless dungeon or cave, just being like, "Dog, don't let me die in the dark. Don't let me die in the dark." So much stone. And just praying for some guidance and any help that he could find, in expectation that this is going to be a terrible journey.
Okay. Thor, are you doing anything?
I'm still just interrogating, what's their face?
Terry,
yep, I'll get it eventually. And can I, persuade them to try to answer at least one of my questions?
Sure, go ahead, go for it.
Alright.
Okay, pick a question that he will respond to.
Is it a permanent fist? Did they put bronze on like around his fist, or is it just a glove that he wears?
So as you guys have heard Thor pestering the ever-loving shit out of Terry since he has latched onto your group, you finally see his, like, firm mask of ignorance slipping a little bit, looking over at Thor with this kind of, like, are you serious look, and then he flips over the gauntlet, and you see him undoing a couple straps on it, and then he pulls the bronze gauntlet off of his hand, revealing the dwarven hand beneath, kind of wiggling his fingers at you and then slipping the gauntlet back on.
See, it'd be way cooler if it was just like pure bronze, you know? So it's like you're part of this crew forever, whether you like it or not. You can't just take it off. You should really think about that.
I'll put in a word.
Thank you, Terry.
Uh-huh.
No, I'll walk over to wherever JD is.
Okay.
He'll just be like rubbing his belly like a pregnant lady, just like whispering at it.
Oh, JD, no, this is not the time for. I don't think people want to see that. No, okay.
Thor, I don't care what time it is. We're about to go into a giant hole deep in the earth.
JD, we're already in a giant hole.
We're going deeper.
Yeah? Isn't this cool? Are you not having fun?
A little bit of sweat trickling down. It's great, Thor.
Can you even understand anything of what they're saying?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No, the dwarves, no. No, I can't.
Yeah. It's okay. I can be your translator. I can tell you exactly what they're saying.
Let me guess. This is dangerous, and we're all gonna die, and our bones will be left for the scavengers.
Yeah. I mean, they said that about you, but for us, they said we'll find you some room so you can stay for the night.
Of course. No, I'm staying in the cart.
What? Why?
The only place safe is the cart.
That's not even true.
Adam like turns around and is like, oh, no one stays in the cart with me.
No, you sleep on the ground.
No, Adam, you sleep in the cart.
Adam looks over at Valor.
I'm confident this situation will resolve itself.
Well,
we better get you all to your rooms.
JD, you either sleep in the cart with Adam or you sleep inside with us.
Torn between the decision of...
I'm sure you'll be much safer by yourself with the shield of Adam between you and whatever lurks in the dark.
Why are you telling him to sleep outside? What is wrong with you people?
No, you... Y'all are right. I should stick with you. You three are strong. Fine. Sparky. No, look over at Sparky.
Sparky is still wielding the little wooden shard that he's pulled out of the floorboard. It seems that he's rather attached to this implement, but he kind of like reaffirms his grip on it, kind of peeks his head over the way. Yes!
Just make sure to stay with Adam. Even if you see grubs running around the ground, just don't go after them. Stay in the cart.
Okay. Settles back in. But yes,
Valorant, if it's all the same to you, if I can room up with you so we can go over a little bit more information for once we get out of the tunnels.
Almost nothing is all the same to me. But okay.
Thank you.
Dang, I thought this meant something.
So as your conversation dies down, You are all led over to the barracks as it's now been kind of quickly shifted into serviceable living quarters for the time. Adam pulls the wagon up next to it, kind of parking and unhitching the horses, getting them ready for potentially more travel the next day. You guys are led inside, and it's a very simplistic, kind of rectangular room where a lot of the bunk beds have kind of been readdressed, extra padding put in it, a few different pillows have been put there that you see that the other beds are devoid of. But there's plenty of room for you guys to relax and wind down and eventually find some sleep. And you were guided in there and kind of just been told to wait until you're approached by somebody else and left to your own devices for the afternoon. Or the evening, I guess, at this point.
Did they provide food or?
No. They would just kind of set you in that room and be like, we'll get to you, and then left you there.
I will thank them in Dwarvish as they leave.
Okay.
Hey, Rolly. You've been down here before, haven't you?
Yes.
Do you know if they have maps?
Of course they have maps with dwarves.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you have an innate sense to just find your way.
We've got that as well, but we also have maps.
Do you think they would be willing to give us one?
Maybe.
I know we're supposed to go find something for Thor at one of the crossroads, but your guy didn't say where it was, did he?
He said that I'm gonna clarify. He said at a fork, right?
He said crossroads, about 2 days.
At a crossroads 2 days away.
Yeah.
Okay. But he didn't say which path that was.
No.
He said 2 days, crossroads, spider. Wearing a dank-looking necklace. Dope. Dank. I don't know. These are new words I picked up in the 3rd level.
Well, I'm sure it is dank. It is underground.
Yeah. But I don't know what path that would be. I don't even know how many paths there are. I honestly have no idea where we are or where we're going, as of yet. I mean, I know where we're supposed to be going, but... Yes, I agree with you, JD, that a map would be nice. So that
JD, there will be a scout that will be joining us. I'm sure he will be delighted to show you a map.
Wait, we're gonna have a guide?
Yeah, didn't you hear them say that? Oh,
well,
right.
I heard a bunch of
My bad.
words, but
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good. Jarek will kind of just be rocking in nervousness.
I'll have Carl come just give you a pat.
So you guys are left alone for about an hour. You guys hear the continual motion of the fort kind of going on outside. Just kind of like a dull rumbling of, men shouting, equipment being tossed around, metal boots hitting the ground, just kind of filling the background void. Eventually you do hear a set of footsteps growing closer. The, familiar rhythmic kind of metal clanking of the armor growing closer and closer to the door, before you see it thrust open, and filling the door frame is this rather short and stout dwarven woman. She has this kind of elegant braided red hair, running down the back from the top of her head and down the back. She stood tall, kind of a great axe strapped to her back, that black plate mail armor that you guys saw all the other legionnaires wearing adorned on her figure. You see that she has this very stern, decisive face on her as she looks over the group in question, scanning each person one by one, eventually landing on Jarek for a few more moments than the others, and then turning to look at Rolly, nodding her head down. Do you all speak Dwarvish?
All of us but the fat one.
Are you all guarding him? 3 guards for the human noble? Is that what this is?
No, he's a traveling companion. We're not guarding anyone. He just doesn't speak Dwarvish.
So she then turns to you, Jarek, giving you one more look up and down, and then in a very rough common, "Hello? I guide you where you are going. I am Sira. Yes."
Sira, thank you. Do you have a map?
She nods slowly and then turns back to Rolly. "I think that I will talk to you a bit more. He seems a little slow."
You get used to him. And in a pinch, he's more useful than he looks, believe me.
"I would like to see that, because I don't quite believe you. But, as I said, I am Sira of the Bronze Legion. I will be your guide going forth tomorrow. It is my understanding that we're going to West Point."
It is.
"Well, I have looked over my maps and I have looked over the records of the travelers from various locations, and there are 3 paths that I would recommend taking, all with the various perils of the Dwarven Highways. But I thought that I would express the different trials we might have to fight through, the equipment that you have, the warriors that you have, and then decide the best course of action from there."
That's fair enough.
"My rate is 40 gold per day as we travel. If any of you die as we travel, then I will refund you the full amount paid to me."
Does that include burial costs?
"No, that would be left up to you."
Fair enough.
At this point, I would turn to JD and say, "They're discussing how you're going to die."
And just give Sira like this, like stricken look.
Just like looks over at you a little concerned and then looks back at Rolly with a concerned look. But then eventually steps forth, looks around, looks at Valorant for a moment, goes, "Dwarvish, yes."
I don't want to take the time to try to come up with something, but he responds in Dwarvish with a like sort of traditional or poetic like greeting or toast.
Okay. She kind of like looks a little bit surprised, eyebrow raises, gives you a little head nod. "I think that we will get along fabulously." And then the Goliath, Dwarvish, yes.
Yeah, I live on top of these mountains, so like, it's not. I picked up a thing or 2 from my mom. Yep.
"I imagine that you're here due to your strength and not your wit."
Well, I was, yeah, but now I think I'm here to be smart.
Then turns back to Rolly. "Well, I shall be inspecting your equipment and your wagon to see what you have, in case we run into any sort of problems. I'm imagining you consent to this."
Of course, and the other fellow, Terry, he's traveling with us. I have no idea anything about him other than he shall be coming with us.
"That is a good point. May I ask the purpose of your group if you are not guarding this fat noble?"
We'll simply have business outside Bronze Shard on the other side of the mountains, and it's most expeditious.
"Simple enough. I shall not pry. I will go get with your small man that guards your wagon and look over your equipment." "Does he speak Dwarvish?"
Adam, yes, he does, but the salamander creature there, probably not. Quite harmless. Don't hold any fire near him.
"Noted. But I shall commence with that, and I shall get back with you. For now," she reaches back and grabs this kind of metal tube that has definitely been used a fair bit. There's a bunch of dents and scratches and various wear and tear to the exterior. And she pulls off the cap and a little scroll. As she unrolls it, it appears to be a map of the Dwarven Highways, more or less. Basically the map that you guys have in front of you. And she then lays it out and very quickly goes over the 3 different routes that she would recommend. The one to the west, the one in the middle, and the one to the north. She'll give you more details later on them, but that's roughly, what she explains, and then leaves the room to go check on your guys' wagon.
You see, Jarek, we make maps as dwarves.
Well, I would expect so. I just didn't know if they had any available for us to purchase or take with us. So
No, you asked, do you have maps? Do you make maps?
My apologies, Rolly. I am not feeling myself. I
was just going to say that I go with Syrah. Valoran follows her and observes as she inspects the wagon.
Okay. Would any of the other 3 Golden Hearts be doing anything while this is going on?
Is the map still with us?
Yeah, she basically sets it out with you guys, kind of explains the 3 different routes, and then leaves.
Okay.
So when she explained the routes, it's what we see depicted, just...
Yeah, so the red, the green, and the blue. Yeah. And
Okay.
then the amount of days it would take is the text that correlates with the color.
And was there any... did she give any specific dangers along the route, or was she going to do that later?
Yeah, she's going to come back and do that after inspecting the equipment. So.
Okay. Would I know anything just from having...
Yeah, I'd imagine you'd know certain things. You can either ask questions, do like a general history check, whatever you're trying to go for.
would there be any place that I would be fearful of, or would look at and there'd be dread associated with?
So the overall understanding of the highways, Beg Muldur is kind of the old capital of the dwarves. It's kind of been replaced by Bronshard at this point, but there's still a lot of the original dwarven society kind of still built up there. So that's a rather large city. The city of Mingrom is the Forgotten City, or the Dead City, that was originally built to try and create a trade route with the Pruitt Empire, and then was overrun by various Underdark individuals. And then Norndoril, the city all the way up to the north, is kind of this just large residential sprawling dwarven city that's almost like a different culture entirely. They're almost like a little subset of the dwarven race under the Surbat Mountains. And the various other towns along the highways are, mining outposts, or, large, mothers, mushrooms, agricultural places. As far as the different roads and routes and potential dangers, it would be hard for you to have current knowledge on that. Really, you just kind of have the overall understanding of the potential people you might run into. The only kind of finite detail that you would know is Svenlock the World Eater was a giant, massive monstrosity that's basically a giant worm that defeated something called the Death March 32 years ago. The Pale Legion decided to try and retake the Forgotten City with a massive army pushing forth, and was stopped dead in its tracks on the bridge that crosses that lake, hence the lake being named Svenlock Lake. So now it is understood that any sort of expedition that attempts to go that way has to meet with Svenlock, who is, rumored or understood to have stopped an army of about 5,000 dwarves. So that's a little tidbit of information that you would have.
And Black Hole and Corntomb's Heel? Anything that I would know about either of those?
Probably not, because I imagine the traveling that you did as an acolyte would probably be to Beg Muldur and back. Probably didn't go on any of the offshoot branches, but yeah, so that's probably roughly what you would understand.
All right, thanks.
So
I'd like
saying-
to.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to make 4 copies of this map.
Okay.
and then give one to each.
Okay.
Here.
So start taking the time to do that, because it will take some time?
Yeah.
Okay. And Thor, what are you doing?
Apologies if I didn't hear the history about this, but was there anything about Black Pit at all?
No.
Okay. And then anything about these 2 unmarked cities that are on here? Or
Not
Dow?
that you or Rolly would know. The various kind of smaller towns outside of the dwarven metropolises aren't really well documented or frequently visited. Really, they just kind of function on their own, and then occasionally travel to the big cities for trade or whatnot. So it's not like you would just know, oh yeah, over in Bucksville they have this or that. It's more like, oh yeah, those Bucksville people. I don't know jack shit about them. So.
Never mind.
But so as the 3 of you do your various preparations or insights, Valorant, you follow your new dwarven guide outside to the wagon, where she comes up to Adam, looks him up and down real quick. I will be inspecting your equipment. I have been told that you speak Dwarvish. Adam kind of whips his head around, looks a little bit surprised, looks her up and down. Yes, yeah, and then he looks over to you, Valorant, who I imagine gets some sort of sign of approval.
Just
back
nod
over
silently.
Back over to Sierra. Oh, yes, of course. I can help you find anything that you're looking for. I'll give you a general description. I have a running notebook with all the stuff in there if you'd like. And then, begins kind of working with her to go over the wagon. Terry, at this point, basically just functions in the general area around the wagon unless, stated otherwise. Doing his duty to stay with you, but not imposing or including himself in any sort of barracks or taverns or sleeping situations that you may find yourself in. Sparky is already kind of wrapped up in his little swaddling blanket from Adam and is left there, and they begin kind of digging through the wagon, looking at various things, her asking Adam questions about what this is and what that is and how this came about and how much days of food you guys have and various things of that nature.
Just watching them do this, Valorant inserts himself into the conversation. I presume there's an outfitter of some kind in the settlement here that we could visit.
An outfitter? What do you mean?
My supplies.
Ah, yes. What kind of supplies are you looking for?
Well, we have quite a few torches, I'm sure, but I assume that varieties of sources of light would be helpful as we travel the highway.
I did not get your name.
Valorant.
Valorant, I imagine that you have not traveled the highways at any point in your small life.
No.
Let me show you something. It is rather amusing. She hops out of the wagon and then comes up to you. She reaches into a little pouch at her side and pulls out this small not pile, but a small pinch of green dust. And she begins to kind of rub it between her fingers and then flings it out into the air. And the dust kind of mixes in with the air and then congeals all into one point and then bursts into a floating green flame. The tendrils of the flame kind of very slowly, almost like half the speed of regular fire, begin to kind of dance in front of you as this tiny green floating fireball just kind of exists in the space between you, illuminating about 30 or 40 feet around you. She's like, that is Earth Flame. That lights up the entirety of the highways, and it will certainly get us where we're going without any sort of darkness descending upon us.
Convenient.
She then does a little motion and actually makes contact with the flame and kind of pushes it towards you, where it drifts very slowly till eventually it kind of gets up against your skin and you realize there's no heat or burning. It doesn't really react to your physical presence at all, as it just kind of very slowly continues to burn right in front of you.
And this is all throughout the highway.
Yep, there are cauldrons placed every 20 or 30 feet throughout the entirety of the highways as far as we have upkept. I cannot say to what extent every single road has been upkept, except if I go back to my records, but the various routes that we should be going through have been traveled relatively recently, except for the one in the middle, the one that leads straight to West Point. But we shall discuss things further as we get back with your companions.
As you've already noted, I have not traveled the highways before. 40 gold a day is an impressive wage.
Well, if you think that I will not earn it, I will ask you again how you feel about my rate once I safely get you to where you are going.
I look forward to that conversation.
We have a counter here at the Bronze Legion of how many trips we have sent out without any sort of deaths or intense bodily harm, and we just broke triple digits.
Well, I hope that we will add to that tally.
Yes, because if it resets, that certainly wouldn't reflect well on me.
Well, don't let me delay you any further.
I think we are going to get along very well, Valorant.
I expect so.
She then turns around curtly. Tiny man, continue. And then Adam begins to read off more of the list and showing her the various equipment in the wagon. So,
I think
this
we need
process.
a house. Go ahead.
No, what did you say?
I was just gonna say I think we need to house my guiding bumper sticker on the cart.
So this process will probably take about an hour or two, going kind of late into the night at this point. It's hard for you guys to tell what time it is, but kind of from your internal clock, you would guess it's somewhere like 9, 10, 11 in that range. So if you guys were going to try to sleep and prepare for the next day, now would kind of be the time.
I would first try to find some food.
Okay. Well, there's always like food in the wagon that Adam has kind of prepped for you to kind of eat off of throughout your various adventures, or you can try and find something within the fort.
I'd just go to the wagon and I'm going to get some food from the wagon. Would anybody like anything?
Some.
Yes, I know you want to eat, Jarek. What about you?
I mean, yeah, if you're offering, do you need help getting
And
stuff?
I would turn around and walk away.
Okay. Everybody's so happy here. JD, you want to play a game?
Maybe.
It's a yes or no question. There is no maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Thor. Are you gonna hit me?
Maybe.
But did my answer is maybe?
Well, it's called slaps.
But yeah, no.
You don't want to play slaps? Me and Carl play all the time.
Well, yeah, but he's made of wood.
Yeah? You're made of, like, I don't know, squish.
Yeah, well, that squish hurts.
I think wood hurts harder than your squish.
Well, only for you. My squish would hurt me.
Okay, I guess I'll play slaps with Carl then. Come here, Carl. Get off, JD.
No, he's my comfort. Please don't.
Fine. I guess I will play slaps with my sword. I don't know. There's not many people here, JD.
I'm sorry, Thor. If you want to play a game of numbers, I can do that. I'm pulling out a piece of paper.
You just want to pass the time somehow.
And Jarek will make a whole bunch of little dots in a grid. Be like, you connect the lines one at a time, and then when you make a box, that's a 1 point.
What is this game called?
I call it dots and boxes.
It's a pretty simple game. I will play this game.
Okay, so pull out 2 quills, a little bit of ink, and just make sure you wipe the ink off before you make the line, otherwise it's going to smear. So just like,
Now by box, do you mean like the whole thing? Like we have to go all the way around?
But yeah, you 4 sides to make a box, but you only get to draw one line between 2 dots. No diagonals. No
Let's
crosses.
go ahead and roll for this.
I'm imagining this will be intelligent.
Yeah, we're gonna do contested intelligence, and 2 victories will win the game for you.
Jesus Christ. Isn't our intelligence both -2?
Mine's a -1, so I'm the
Ooh.
smarty pants.
Okay, calm down there.
Okay, so Jarek, as he is attempting to describe the rules of the game to Thor kind of like tunes him out for a little bit, just kind of nodding along as he sees the paper being laid out in front of him. Eventually, Thor just makes a mark, Jarek kind of hurriedly, kind of like going to make his move, Thor very carefully making another, and after about a minute or so getting into the game, it's clear that Thor's natural intuition with dots and boxes is really showcasing itself as he's kind of taken the lead. We'll go ahead and
This
roll
game is
in.
way simpler than slaps.
Beginner's luck, Thor. Just one more game.
I mean, I've only made a couple of boxes. Calm down. Alright, are we going again?
Yep. Oh my god. Jarek, are you influencing that die roll at all? Okay.
No. I'm pretty sure I burned all of those already.
Oh yeah.
Did we get
nice.
it wrong
Yeah.
yesterday?
Not really. You will get one this afternoon or this evening, but yeah. So yes, as the game continues, Jarek is attempting to explain to Thor just how difficult the game is and how he's, you really have to think deeper about this thing and that thing, as Thor again kind of tunes him out, eventually getting almost a little bit annoyed about the kind of constant bickering with him trying to figure out the game. Just keeps kind of throwing out random lines, no tactic, no forethought, but somehow miraculously, through the combined nature of Jarek's bickering and Thor's beginner's luck, Thor squeaks out a win after about 3 or 4 minutes of the game going through.
I mean, that really was such a simple game. Is this all you people play?
Jarek just throws the quill down. Yeah, no, we do other things too, Thor. It's fine. You're good job. Just good job. I let you win, Thor. I wanted you to feel good about yourself.
I feel fine. Everybody else seems to have problems. Except for maybe Valorant. I don't know. He always seems like he might have a problem, but you can never tell if he actually has a problem or if he just looks like he has a problem.
He's noble. The only problems he have are land disputes.
I think he's in a lot of debt. It's a
I
pretty
mean, don't they just like promise to pay later, and then sometime in their grandchild's lifetime, those debts get called in?
Maybe this might be that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
he might be the grandchild.
We are those people.
Calling in his debts?
No, we are the people that the debts are being called on.
Oh,
Yeah, but now he roped us in, so it's like, well, I guess we have to help you. 'Cause
No,
we're
that-
nice
I get-
people,
I mean,
and we
it's fair.
don't
Thor.
kill people.
He helped us, so it's fair.
I know, I'm just messing around.
And we are gonna have to kill people, Thor. There's just the way things work.
So, Rolly, as you leave the barrack situation and come out to the wagon, you see that she's kind of finishing up with Adam, kind of discussing things with Valorant for a quick second. As you come and, get whatever sort of food that you are retrieving, she looks over at you, gives you a quick nod. I shall return in the morning and we shall discuss what path we shall take, but for now I imagine that you need your rest. You all look rather weary.
Yes, it's been a long day, week, lifetime. Is there any ale here?
There is, but it is not too, pleasurable for non-legionnaires.
Can't imagine it's anything that I would turn my nose up to.
I shall, send a cask your way if it will help lift the spirits.
Lift my spirits if you would have a mug with me.
Well, considering that your lives are going to be in my hands for the next week or so, it's probably not the best to ply me with any sort of alcoholic beverage.
Not plying you with anything. I just want a goddamn dwarf to drink with.
Don't you have your dwarven companion Terry?
He's not my companion.
Give me a persuasion check.
Let's see here.
Kind of looks at you, gives you kind of like a polite nod. I have duties to attend to this evening, and there are many things to prepare for the travels ahead. I
Of course.
appreciate the
Thank you
gesture of
very
friendship.
Good day.
She then gives you a nod, gives Valor a nod, gives Adam a nod, and then moves off. So, unless there's anything you all want
And
to
I
do
would just, I would get some. I imagine we have hardtack.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
yeah, I'd grab a couple of fistfuls of that and go back to the companions.
Okay.
Quick question. For the level up, do I have access to that yet?
Yeah, we'll go with that's fine.
Okay. I just need to do one thing.
Okay.
I need to cast Sending.
Okay.
I'm going to send over to... Oh shit, what was his name? Dovin?
Novin?
What was his name? My prime flametarian. Dover, there we go. I wrote it out, so I gotta put that. Jarek would think hard and send forth his will and into the mind of Dover. Prime Flametariat, the people are in danger. The Distal Flames must make all effort to prevent any harm to the town by the foreigners.
That's the full message?
Yes, and it should be 24 words, if I counted correctly.
Okay. And then he can reply to this?
He has the option to, and he knows it's me.
Okay. Okay. Who wants to count me? Because there's no fucking way I'm counting this. Okay. Jarek, what is this wizardry? You're in my head. Foreigners. The fancy man. He's gone. That would be it.
And then just after getting that back, okay, guys, good news. Sir Alum is no longer in Corel. So we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but where did he go?
I don't know.
He wouldn't have told them.
Hopefully to Eleanor, because I believe that's where we last messaged Croak.
I'm just saying, it's sometimes it's better to know where people are versus where people aren't.
Well, for now, that situation is taken care of, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay, wait, hold on. Can't we hear you send messages to people?
I believe it's mental. I will read the description. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious.
I'm curious because if you just said that in front of all of us.
You send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature you are familiar with. The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a like manner immediately. Can send the message any distance.
It requires verbal components, right?
Verbal, somatic, and material, but I believe I replaced that with my casting focus of a flute.
So as far as I'm going to comprehend it, I'm going to go with yes, that you are speaking the message out loud as the verbal component.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, did you just say that in front of all of us?
Probably not like loudly, but he'd be twerking upon the strings to get that magic flowing, and then he'd just be like in a low conversational voice, but nothing. I'm not trying to hide it per se. I'm worried. Jarek is worried. He's not
So,
thinking.
I guess my question would be, would I be able to hear what you said?
Do you want him to roll for it, Jarek, or do you want him to just
Well,
be able to hear it?
I figured I'd just use my passive perception because it's not like something that is uncommon for
I mean, I'm
Jarek
just
to
asking
talk
if
to
Jarek
himself.
wants to attempt to.
I won't contest it.
Okay. So yeah, you were able to hear what it said.
JD?
Yeah?
Who is the prime flame tear whatever?
Don't you remember?
Remember what?
I gave Croak a new name.
You gave Croak a new name?
Yeah, no, he couldn't be overseer. That sounded too angry.
So you called him the prime what?
You just heard me, Thor.
The prime flame Terriot?
Thor, look, you're not going to remember it anyways. What does it matter?
Oh, whoa. Why is everybody so hostile here? I was just asking a question, jeez. How is that better than overseer?
Thor, I felt better when I was called mayor versus overseer. I thought he might enjoy, a change of name.
So you didn't go with, like, assistant mayor, you went with prime flame Terriot.
Croak has a new title. He'll be happy with it, I'm sure.
Do I believe you? I want you to deceive me.
Technically, nothing I said was untrue. I don't know. What do you feel? Is that a persuasion or a deception?
You did give. I would say it's deception.
No.
So yeah, if you want a deception and insight. Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's just a weird name, JD, that's all I was saying.
I did my best, Thor, okay?
Also, when did you learn to do the thing you just did?
I was praying to Dog earlier, and he helped me out a little bit with some things. I won't lie, I can't do everything I used to, but I think his gifts will benefit us, and Jarek will gesture around to the group a little bit more going forward.
So you can just, like, talk to people now?
I mean, I could always talk to people, Thor. But yes, now I can.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of it, Valoran, if I can spend some time in your family's vineyard, I would like to at least attempt to help you out.
I don't see why not. It'll have to come after whatever takes place with Salamon. But assuming all goes well, I planned on stopping by home.
Well, hopefully, we won't be killed.
I could honestly say that's the least of my worries.
Right. Would Rolly have come back with food?
I imagine so.
Take some hardtack. Thank you, Rolly.
Pass some out to Thor and offer some to Valoran. Is Terry around?
No, Terry stays with the wagon. So he would sleep in the wagon, kind of function basically around Adam, more or less. So, but yes, as the Golden Hearts all partake in hardtack, you all find your various ways to sleep, and then slumber for the evening in preparation for travel in the morning. Unless there's any other things you guys want to get done.
Yeah, I'd like to go outside. And although I believe JD, I do not still trust him. So I'm going to use Carl and send a message to, well, I assume Croak.
Mm-hmm.
And I will address him as Prime Flame Tariot. I mean, I can do it. I can do this for you.
Okay.
Hello, Prime Flame Tariot. I assume that's one word. How are things in Corel? Do you know where Sir Alum went?
Is that it?
Also, yeah, I got nothing.
So, Jarek, remind me, you did rename Croak Prime something, Prime Secretariat? Was that it?
Prime Secretariat, yes.
Okay. Let's see.
My question would be, whenever you send a message through the stones,
Mhm.
because it's not the actual sending spell, do they know who sent it?
No.
Okay.
It's a very, like, almost text-to-speech kind of voice when it comes and goes. You would not get a response, Thor. Yet. But
That's fine.
that message is sent.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else before the Golden Hearts head to bed?
Valorant, do you want to play slaps?
What?
Slaps. Has nobody heard of slaps in this place?
Rob, your mic is doing the thing again.
What are the rules of slaps?
Well, you see, it's a very simple game that we used to kind of hone the strength and like the speed of the warriors in our clan. Okay, so it was a game that we played in Boulder School, and then like it gets a little crazy when you go like the actual raids and stuff, and they start to practice, and like then they use like actual weapons, and people may or may not die. It depends on if you hit them or not. But the child game is you stick both your hands out. One person sticks their hands on top of the other, and then you just wait. And you wait for the bottom person to hit the top person's hand. And if you're the top person, your goal is to not be hit by the bottom person. So you have to move your hands without being hit.
Thank you for the invitation. I think I'll pass tonight.
Play slaps. Alright, Carl, come here.
Carl will dutifully come over.
And we'll do it with my fingers.
Okay. So you would see Thor and Carl playing slaps, with Carl having an extreme disadvantage due to his size.
Hey, I would let him win every once in a while.
Okay. So, anything else before you all find your way to sleep? Cool. So, however you want to find your way to sleep in the little improvised barrack kind of tavern room that's been set up for you, you would be left to basically, sleep through the night, have a good night's rest. Obviously, the fortifications of the Bronze Legion kind of guarding you from any potential threats that may be pursuing you all. But yeah, unless otherwise, you guys would wake up in the morning to, again, the same diligent background mumbling and noises of the fort that seem to never really sleep, as, you know, the dwarves down here don't go by any sort of day-night cycle. It's just on or off. So you guys are all awakening in various states as the morning begins. But you have been told that Sierra will get back with you as she comes up with a plan and inform you more about the pathways that have been provided.
Did I get a message?
What time of day? Not yet.
Okay.
So, anything you want to do before Sierra finds her way back to you all?
I'm going to find. I think she said there was like a somewhere that was selling things in the fort.
It'd basically be like a quartermaster for the fort.
I want to find that, and you know, even though she told me about the magic light dust, I am still going to see if they have a bullseye lantern.
Okay.
That I can buy.
Mm-hmm. Are you super nice and already have the cost of that pulled up for me?
I do.
Sweet.
It's 10 gold.
Okay. And then I'm assuming you're also looking for oil for it as well?
Well, I have some oil already, although it wouldn't be enough for the
lamp.
entire trip.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to take that lantern and try a little experiment.
Sparky juice.
I want to see if Sparky's secretions will function well enough as lamp oil.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check real quick.
I was going to ask if I could, well, one, as I was getting up, I would ask Valoran where he's going, and I assume he would tell me. But if you wouldn't tell me, then I just wouldn't go.
No, he just says he's going shopping.
Then I'm going with you.
Okay. Do you want to assist him in this persuasion attempt then?
I will always assist him in persuading people.
Okay. Valoran, go ahead, give me another roll.
Just out of curiosity, what does that look like?
So,
how
I'll
does
tell you how
Thor
that looks like.
function?
So, as you approach the quartermaster, you know, Thor, you're kind of groggy, you know, holding back, letting Valoran do his thing. And you see Valoran begin to kind of communicate with the quartermaster, expressing his interest in a lantern and kind of going through the whole business transaction. Eventually, as gold is about to exchange hands, you realize that this quartermaster is a bit more gruff and to the point. Not so much of the elegant word choice persuasion. So as the money is about to kind of go from one to the other, you slap your hand on the table and you go, "Look here. I know what's going on here. I know we can get a better rate. Let's see it get done, right? Let's do this." And the guy kind of looks at you, looks at Valoran, looks at you, and just slides a gold piece back to Val. So you pay 8 instead of 10. Thrilling.
Much appreciated.
So, yes, you would have the lantern, and then you want to attempt to use the sparky juice as oil.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fill the lantern with it because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to blow the new lantern up. Just partially
Okay.
put some in the reservoir and see if it will behave like a lantern.
So as you go back to the wagon and inspect the collected sparky juice up to this point, you learn a couple things. The ones that have been sitting for about a week or so, that have been kind of the beginning of the collection of sparky juice, has a thick, solid crust kind of grown over the top of it. And it's rather difficult to get through. And you try and like push through it, you see a little bit of give. It's almost like freshly placed tar. Like, you can press it down ever so slightly, but not enough to really do anything to it. So you start going to the more recently collected fluid, and you see a small film kind of building up on the top of them, but it's thin enough that you can kind of break it away and then get to the actual sparky juice beneath it. So if you get like a small little amount, and you place it into the lantern and go through the process of trying to see if it functions about the same, it would more or less function the same as lantern oil.
Nice, unlimited lamp oil, as long as we keep Sparky alive.
So, but yes, is anyone else doing anything with their morning?
stretches and exercise.
Okay.
Jarek will try and hold on to what little routine insanity he has.
Okay.
Prayers and ale.
Routine morning. I like it. So, as Valor and Thor return from their adventure and Jarek and Rolly get their constitution up for the day, eventually Sierra does find her way back to the barracks as you were all collected there, kind of walking in and giving you all another once-over as she approaches, looking down at the map that she left and the duplicates that you have now made and handed out. She goes, "You are smarter than you look," to Jarek.
Thank you. I am a mayor of a town.
And then she turns over to Rolly and Valorant and Thor, kind of like giving them all a polite head nod. "Well, shall we get down to business then?"
Please.
So she approaches the map, and you see that on her left hand, she has this like big tome, a giant, thick journal with a bunch of various like notes kind of sticking out from the pages. And she kind of flips it over with a nice heavy thunk as it hits the other side of the table and begins flipping through the pages. She's like, "I have been going through the travel logs for the various pathways we may take, and I have the different situations that may arise." So, outside of character, just to explain this a bit better.
Knowing that this would be relatively important information that would be hard to relay in real time, could I suggest to Jarek that he perform his ritual of it's a ritual, right? Tongues?
He can cast his ritual and cast it. Oh, do you not?
Oh.
There were certain sacrifices made as Jarek prayed to Dog, and tongues is one of them.
Okay.
I can just relay the information.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm going to explain what she tells you out of character just because it's a bit easier. So, the red path, the shortest one, basically heading straight west, there is reports of a beast of burden being lost in one of the most recent trips along that path, which is known to attract what's called carrion crawlers, which are basically giant underdark maggots that, find dead or rotting things, eat their flesh, and then place their larvae into the bones of said animal, and then guard the eggs until they hatch. More of them exist, and then they feed and feed and feed. So that is potentially the biggest threat, as far as she is aware, on the red trip. Any questions with that one?
Are there, so these are problems that we may face, correct?
Yes.
But there... Oh, sorry. My question would be, are there, potential rewards that go along with dealing with these problems?
No, I mean, basically, as far as the contract is concerned, if she gets you there alive, that's all the Pale Legion kind of, has invested in you. They're not going to, pay you for disposal or bounties or anything like that.
Okay.
So, but I mean, anything you find along the way is yours, but...
You just...
That's not... Oh. Am I here?
You're here now. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, but anything you find along the way would be yours, but they don't really keep track of what treasures you might find along the way, like friendship. Okay. So then the green path, the one in the middle, that basically goes a bit farther north than you need to go, then turns around and comes back, is the least frequently traveled route to get to this particular point. That stretch from where it breaks off at Bronze Shard and then is kind of isolated all the way up north is infrequently traveled. It's probably been about a month or two since the last caravan has gone through. So potentially, basically anything could be down that road. But a common problem with roads that are not traveled frequently is they grow these kind of how you describe them? Almost mimic rock formations. Basically living creatures that attempt to hide amongst the stalactites and the stalagmites of cavernous areas and then spring traps as, caravans move through. So that's not a 100% certainty, but a big fear when going down roads that have not been traveled recently. So that's the green path. Any questions with that one?
So the creatures that we saw in the water when we fought double-headed Sam?
Not really. Those are just black squids that kind of just hid. I mean, yeah, they did hide as like stalactites, kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Similar attempt, yeah. Okay. And then the blue one, which heads basically east and then up through Begmulder, the old capital of the Dwarven race, or I guess culture beneath the Serbat Mountains, is the most frequently traveled one, but recently has been kind of halted since a caravan coming from Begmulder to Bronshard was lost there about a couple days ago, and there's no sign or word of them making it through, so nobody recommends going that way until they send an actual, attachment of legionnaires to make sure it's safe. But that is an option for you all.
So, is there a crossroads that way? Because it looks like that's the only one with a crossroads.
So if you wanted to figure out what crossroad might potentially be mentioned by Fibic the Fingers, it would be the blue one. So
Yeah. That's what I figured.
But yeah, so she goes through us all this information and then slaps her book closed. So that is the gist of it. With the equipment and the resources that you all have and the aptitude of your combat abilities, I think that we could potentially make any of them work, though I would recommend not going for the road to Begmulder. That is the unknown variable which I like to avoid.
I vote against her. Blue Road.
Why could we not follow the middle path to Black Hole? And then,
It's hard to... Oh, the
Two
green
different
one?
levels.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to tell that road is actually above the one beneath it. If I can move this, why?
Yeah, so the darker represents either upper or lower. I figured that out.
I can't... There we go.
So I was looking for a crossroads.
So you see that the path is actually above the other one. It's hard to tell with the drawings on them. But you
looks
could
like there's a
potentially
ramp.
get halfway and then, turn around and go through. It would be about the same time, though.
I vote for the shortest path. Red.
I like to agree with Halfbeard. Shortest, sweetest, and potentially the most known threat.
But I know the threat.
It's the smallest payday for you, though.
I don't really have much to spend my money on, and most of it goes to the Legion anyway, so...
Valoran kind of cuts eyes at Thor and then asks her, what is known about monstrous spider creatures in the highways? Does that ring a bell for you?
She kind of looks a little bit curiously at you, and then looks over to Thor, following your vision, and back to you. That is the running rumor as to what made our last caravan from Begmulder vanish. But it is not confirmed that that is the threat, but it would not be the first time that arachnid foes had found their way to us.
I can confirm.
Doubtful, but thank you for your input.
Do you want to make a bet?
Not really in the business of betting.
And why are you doubting me?
Just kind of shakes her head.
What do you think?
Who did you ask?
Jarek?
Eric.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. About what?
The route that we should choose.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know what
the
Alvin. Yeah, I mean, Thor mentioned very quickly, this route is safe, this route is not, and this route is not currently known. I'm going to say we'd probably have a better time with the easier road, unless there's a reason to travel one of the others.
There is a reason to travel the
But what? What's on the other road?
The spider has the necklace that I've been telling you people about.
Wait, are you talking about the one where the caravan disappeared?
Yeah.
Sira, how big of a caravan?
He wants to know how big of a caravan.
She looks at Thor like, thank you. Looks back to Jarek. Stretch very long. Lots of individuals. Many missing. Is that right? Kind of looking back to Thor.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I can also just tell him whatever.
But kind of like...
What?
But why? There's 7 of us.
Exactly.
I don't even know if Terry will fight. What?
Terry will fight.
Sierra,
Fine,
what kind of troop will the Legion send to find out the fate of this caravan?
Considering that there were individuals in that caravan that I cannot disclose the identity of, it is rather important that that pass gets cleared out and that caravan gets found, so I imagine probably around 100 legionnaires or so will be sent to make sure that the pathway is safe.
When will they go to do that?
We're waiting for some to come back from the far north. I don't really know, I'm not privy to those decisions, but I imagine it might be a week, a month, somewhere in that range.
Thor would start bouncing up and down like a little kid. Guys, there's so much. It's an important person. There could be important things in there.
That they're going to send 100 legionnaires after.
Yeah, we can do it.
Rolly, you already...
even beat one dwarf.
Whoa. Okay, you want to see me beat one dwarf? You really want to see me beat one dwarf?
Ballard actually covers his mouth for a second.
Like, beat anybody.
Mister, this is so rigged. And now you're coming at me like, oh, you can't beat one dwarf. I don't want to hear it from you, Mister. I'm upset about everything right now.
Zira just kind of begins backing out of the room.
If you couldn't beat one dwarf, what makes you think that the 7 of us have any chance against something they're sending 100 against?
Because that wasn't one dwarf. That was a dwarf who stacked the odds in his favor. Okay, it's not like this spider knows we're coming and is like, oh, you guys have to lay down all your weapons and you can only use your feet to fight, and I want to face Carl first. And if he loses, then you all have to die and give up.
Look. If I can offer just a little bit here. Are we going to get anything out of it that's really worth going down what is probably going to be guaranteed death trap?
Jarek, you're saying the 5-day route?
I would prefer to have the least likelihood of dying, yes.
That's probably the 5-day route. Rolly, you also say the 5-day route?
Seems like the best option.
I mean, unless Rolly can guarantee he can bring us back from the dead should anything bad happen, which would...
Can't do that.
But then...
You die, you're fucked.
Or I'm sorry, I don't feel particularly inspired to argue this case with you. I also say the 5-day route.
I mean, if we want a compromise here, can we not take the short route to get to Folk, because we are pressed for time. And then when we come back, maybe we'll have some things to help us at that point. We can stop in whatever this, I can't read it, but it looks like a very big area. Maybe a big fort or something. Stop there. And then we can go through the other bits. And then Thor, your spiders will, I'm sure, still be there by that point.
No, I'm angry.
You're always angry, Thor.
I'm not always angry. I was happy. I was excited. There are so many things we could find, and you guys want them. I just can't. I can't. Fine. 5 days. 5 days and some stupid worms.
We'll check. We'll check back in. We'll find out.
It's fine. I'm leaving. Let's go.
Sierra, who's now like in the doorway at this point, trying to decide whether or not she should stay for this particular discussion, just kind of looks around at you all and goes, "Is everybody in this group a diva?"
Yes.
Fantastic. And then she turns around and heads off towards the wagon.
So are we ready to go? I mean, would that have been established, or are we still...
Yeah, I mean, basically today is the day that you guys are going to set out, as long as you make a decision and go that way. Sierra's basically going to head to the wagon, start talking to Adam about it, making sure things are in the process for departure. So, is there anything you all want to do before you leave?
Not me.
If we have a map, why do we need a guide?
Because they insist on giving us one.
Jarek, your face is perfect.
Because
It's the local economy. You have to support the local.
No, but I'm
fuck
serious.
the economy. Because you don't go in somewhere with just a scrap of paper.
That's how everybody does it. That's how everybody did it in the first place. I'm just saying, you could technically save like 200 gold. Probably make some along the way. Well, never mind. We're fighting worms.
No. I don't know if you're doing this in character, out of character. That's gonna change.
Could be both, honestly.
Right. Thor, no, fine. Get grievously wounded, and then we don't have to pay a thing.
Yeah, and then we sleep it off because it's fine. I've been through worse.
No respect for life in this group.
This trip will be long enough without having to worry about every 100 feet, don't eat that, don't touch this, don't step there. I'm more than happy to have a guide along.
Some things are worth the money, Thor.
I would agree with you, but the thing that's worth money is on a different path.
Besides, last I checked, you still hadn't learned to count. It's not really that much gold.
Alright, which way, lady?
So as the party collect themselves and move through the courtyard of the fort, that giant 200-foot-long pit basically stands in front of you, being revealed by the giant bronze gates being open. Sierra eventually kind of steps up to it, looks at the two dwarves on the other side of it, kind of give them a nod, and you see them pull these giant levers down. You hear the metallic thunk, 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 and then this last kind of like latching, clicking sound as they both hit the bottom of the potential angle that they can reach. And then, throughout the stonework on either side of this hallway kind of facing you, which the roof of this hallway is probably about 80 to 100 feet tall, with kind of the rough stonework left at the top of the hallway, you hear what sounds like massive slabs of stone gliding out of the wall, and you see in about 25-foot segments from the left and then to the right and then to the left, basically a 3-foot thick stone slab coming out to fill the hole in front of you, like alternating back and forth as more and more mechanical noises kind of sound from the depths of the stonework until the pit is completely covered by a fresh stone floor, basically servicing as a very long, heavy, intricate drawbridge. When she gives each of the Legionnaires a little nod, one of them steps down from its little platform, grasps her in a nice little handshake, and they both go, "Born below, die below. See you on the other side." And then send you forth across the drawbridge. At this point, Adam is just jaw dropped, looking everywhere, like giddy with excitement at this basically like marvelous experience of seeing building-size stonework being pushed around like it's a everyday occurrence. But you guys would begin setting forth through the hallway and then into the Dwarven Highways. So, as far as I am aware, Adam is driving the wagon with Terry sitting next to him. Sparky is in the back of the wagon doing Sparky things. Everybody is horse-mounted except Thor, correct? Yep.
Actually, Jarek will be in the cart petting Sparky as a comfort animal. And I guess his horse can either go to Thor or just be tied to the back of the cart.
Thank you, JD. I'll give your horse a break.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Okay. But you guys would set forth. After you get past the giant drawbridge, basically, you are met with the Dwarven Highways, which is a strange place to be in. It has almost continuous, large, intricate Dwarven architecture running throughout, but it's clear that the stonework and the craftsmanship has been worn down, deteriorated, kind of almost attacked by both the elements and various equipment or weapons that you would imagine. Big chunks of the stonework has collapsed, the road is all rough, various statues and intricate little machines throughout of the architecture is in disrepair, or kind of slanted to one side, or leaning inwards. It gives the whole appearance this kind of shoddily upkept room, but in this massive structure that runs miles beneath the surface of the earth. But silently you begin plodding forward, and as explained to Valoran, you see these stone cauldrons about 20 or 30 feet apart, alternating on either side of the main road, are these small bundles of slowly moving green flame that you've been shown, giving the entire interior of the highways this almost eerie green glow, making everything seem just a little bit more distasteful, as the natural light that you usually see things in is completely gone at this point. But you kind of almost quickly adjust to this shift in hue as you trudge a few hours northward and then break off into the western route that you had all agreed on, heading toward Corn Tomb's Heel and then beyond to West Point. At this point, you guys will be following the fairly routine, travel camp, until the pathway is basically covered. So is there anything that you would be doing, conversations that need to be had, or questions or anything of that nature?
How fast are we traveling? If I was to just walk, could I walk, or is it I can't keep up with horse pace?
No, I mean, even with the horses, you guys are basically traveling at a walking pace. It's just the comfort of not walking if you're riding a horse.
Okay, then I would just walk.
Okay.
And just at random points, I would stealth forward ahead of everybody, just to see what's up. Or, actually, you know what? I'm just going to walk ahead of everybody.
How far ahead?
Well, I'd probably turn around and do a eye measure. How far...
Respond to that, being the guide.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what he's doing.
Well, I guess I could ask her how far.
How far are you ahead of the group, Daniel? That's what I'm asking.
50 feet.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Probably the response that you would get is, as you are trudging forward, Sarah would probably go and approach Rolly, who Sarah is walking, not on a mount or anything, so she's a good bit shorter than you at this point up on your horse, but looks up. I wouldn't recommend breaking off from the group, but since he's in eyesight, I imagine we'll be able to get to him if something attempts to swallow him whole.
It's his decision.
It is certainly not my place, and feel free to tell me to stop inquiring if it is so, but there seems to be tension, and that usually is not a good thing to have when teamwork is needed to survive.
Yes, there's tension.
Potentially we can solve this tension with some game or conversation or activity.
Perhaps we'll play dots and fucking boxes.
No, thank you, Rowley. I'm
I
good on
would
my
drink with you, but you don't seem inclined.
Do you have drink?
Of course we have drink. It's called ale.
Then yes, I would gladly.
Adam,
Yes.
do you mind breaking out a bit of watered down ale for Sir Jarek?
Oh, of course. Are we starting a diet, Jarek?
I've been working out and, eating hardtack. I would call that a diet, yes.
So Adam would then go and get you some ale, bring it up to you. He'd give you some watered down ale as asked.
I'm assuming it's the Dwarven, the only reason I would have watered it is because...
Spiral down?
Yeah, it's pretty strong stuff, yeah. Well, the ale that I imagine you guys would have restocked on at the fort is basically efficient drinking, where it is incredibly potent and not very tasteful. So that would be this kind of watered down concoction that you're getting of extremely bitter yet watered down ale.
In that case, Jarek would take his first sip and prestidigitate some flavor into it, and Rowley, I can make it a little tastier if you want.
I just hold the cup out in front of him.
And Jarek will flavor it up with some nice. We'll go with spiral down. We'll give it the flavor of spiral down.
Okay. It'd have the flavor, but not the texture.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jarek.
No, I'm sorry, Rowley. I've been in a sour mood the past few days. I have little liking for this underground lifestyle. No offense to your race, I just...
Believe me, my race has offered much offense lately. Feel however you wish about it.
I haven't had much experience with dwarves, Rowley, but I am glad to say your company is always appreciated.
And likewise, Jarek. My apologies. I'm very disappointed lately, but...
Well, if there's one thing I've learned, every set of people, every group, all species tend to have an asshole, and some are bigger than others.
I see where you're going with it, and I appreciate the sentiment.
He'll hold out his drink for a small toast.
To assholes.
To assholes. Clink.
Valorn, where are you in the caravan at this point?
Just riding near the wagon, slightly in front of it.
Okay.
I've gotten the hooded lantern hooked to myself, but not lit at the moment, just in case.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I didn't know whether we were are we montaging right now?
No, I'm just trying to get your location.
Okay.
But yes, as Sarah breaks off from her conversation with Rolly, as Jarek and him have a bonding moment, if that's what you can call it. She kind of drops back to Valoran, and you astride Belgrease. Belgrease is almost tall enough that she can fit under him as you are walking. So the height difference is rather extreme here. But you see her step back, and this appearance doesn't really hinder her can-do attitude at all. But she steps back, looks up at you, goes, I'm not exactly the most well-versed with emotional conflict, but it seems that you are the most put-together man on this venture currently. I appreciate that.
Yes, I noticed that myself. I'm rather enjoying, in a sort of sick way, being the least angry of the group at the moment.
Are you usually the most angry?
Because of their antics, yes.
Well, I see that you have prepared for the worst, even though I guaranteed the lit outcome of our venture. I have to say I appreciate a man that is prepared.
Well, not that I doubt what you said, but wouldn't want to be caught between cauldrons with something that my life depends on seeing.
Sometimes I forget that you tall folk cannot see in the dark. It's I can't remember the last time that I talked to a non-dwarf, but your dwarvish is very, very good. Where did you learn it?
My father thought that it was important to learn the languages of potential trade partners, neighbors. We're headed toward my home.
You are from the west, then?
I am.
I've never seen the surface, but from what I hear, it is vast.
It goes on forever.
That is oddly terrifying.
You get used to it. You'll notice that, for Jarek, it's terrifying being down here.
Well, Valor and I'm feeling a little bit frisky today. I'll make a deal with you.
Go on.
I want to make a bet with you.
I'm listening.
You say that you do not doubt me, but I don't believe that you do doubt me. If we go through our adventure and we arrive at your destination without you ever having to use the lantern, then you will owe me something. And if you do use the lantern, for good purpose and not just to break the deal, then I will owe you something.
We're already going to owe you a pretty coin for this trip. I don't know if I can afford much more.
Well, then don't take the bet if you don't doubt me.
Don't take the bet if I don't. What would we be betting?
Clearly you have not functioned around dwarves long enough, but we tend to leave the rewards vague.
In that case, no bet. I have enough uncertainty in my life right now.
Well, I shall respect your decision, and I shall keep us trudging forth.
Very good.
She then kind of moves forward past the various, I guess, the three of you collected in front of the wagon, kind of looks up at Thor, just kind of shakes her head, and then continues trudging you along. But we will take a 10-minute break here. You guys left, early in the morning, however you need to figure that out without any sort of actual sun to go by. But as you begin to trudge forward, various conversations kind of taking place, Sarah explains that the Dwarven Highways are very much set up for this kind of travel. There's almost like rest stops every so often where you can kind of like pull off into these little cubbies off the main road and then actually pull like stone doors in front of you to kind of barricade yourselves in. Some of them are still there, some of them are torn open and disrepair, that kind of thing, but basically the routine that she's going to have you guys in is travel throughout the day, find a reasonable rest stop to kind of hunker down in, and then travel and repeat that process indefinitely till you get there. Is there anything that you guys would be doing, or thoughts, or various things that you need to keep track of before we start doing the kind of like montage stuff?
I would find Sarah and apologize. I haven't talked to Jarek. I realize I'm being an ass. I'm still not happy, but I would apologize to her for and to let her know that if she needs anything from us, just to ask, and that we're generally good people.
Yeah. She'd probably just like explain that she really doesn't give a shit about her feelings, so she doesn't take a lot of offense, and then just keep going.
I do have a conversation for Valoran.
Okay.
So I think as camp is broke and we're trudging along, Jarek would be up on his horse, up next to Valoran. Valoran, I have a couple of questions regarding your homeland.
Yes, what is it, Jarek?
I, as you can tell, kind of rather travel-worn. In terms of clothing, maybe we're able to grab something on the road. If not, I can do other things. But, I would love to know maybe what is appropriate fashion. You've mentioned not to try and pass myself off as a noble, and I would not wish to insult you in such a manner as to pretend to be of noble birth, but I am an appointed official of the Duke Grator, and I should at least attempt to look like it. What would be appropriate for that?
Sorry, what would be appropriate for appearing in?
Well, just I don't want to look like a vagabond, as I currently do.
But you're not going to pose as a noble?
To be honest, I never intended to. I don't think I could pull it off, even with the assistance you've provided me. I lack the grace that is bred into your kind.
Well, in this case, Jarek, I think clean clothing, well-mended, high boots, a tunic or a doublet, perhaps gloves. Anything that you find in the town on the surface when we get out of the highways will probably suit. You won't accidentally violate any sumptuary laws.
And Jarek will be sketching out as best he can from horseback. Kind of what Valorant's describing. It holds something like this. Going with, not quite fancy, but as he said, clean, well kept. Something like this.
I think that would do, yes.
Okay, good. And go to another page. And just so I don't embarrass myself by asking the wrong person, what do you think a high-placed servant would look like? If we're going to be around Solomon, what do you think they would look like? Would they have insignias on their clothing to establish they're a high-placed member of his household?
Really, for the day-to-day, what I just described would fit the bill. The way that the social circles move in folk, there aren't a lot of insignia or signifying garments unless you actually hold some sort of religious or military office. Everyone sort of knows everyone else anyway.
Oh,
Sure.
in that case, what would Solomon's colors be?
Well, you understand that the colors would be reserved for him, his family, and guardsmen. I don't think that waitstaff would be sporting his family colors.
Fair enough. Then just so that I can make sure to avoid anyone who would be important. But what, just to make sure, what would their colors be?
I
Do you remember?
out of character, is it blue and black?
No, it's dark gray and silver.
Oh, gray and silver. Damn it. Thought I would at least get one of them. Anyway, yeah. Dark gray and
And then-
silver.
Oh, good. And so if I were to say show up in something like, and he, utilizing his new gifts, would cast Disguise Self, and then appear in a well-kept and nicely cut outfit, high boots, good trousers or tights, I don't know, whatever. No, then this would be fine.
Very good, Jarek. I think you could pass for a footman.
Yes, well, I don't want to embarrass you, there with your friends, family, and countrymen, so just want to make sure.
I must say that I'm impressed, Jarek, and also a little suspicious. This show of conscientiousness, I'm quite overcome.
Well, the different rules. Want to make sure, we don't step on any toes we don't have to.
Quite right. I actually intended to speak to the group as we near the end of this leg of our journey. Folk is going to be something else.
Well, I'm hoping it is not quite as cutthroat as the court of Duke Braun, considering everything we've seen together. But I just wanted to be prepared. I've noticed I have gone in with my hat half cocked and suffered the consequences of my actions. And he'll glance around and make sure Thor isn't in earshot when he says that. I am trying to learn.
Well, my compliments, Jarek. Quite right of you.
Well, good to know. Hopefully we can get some clothes, though, because this only lasts for an hour, and then I just go back to being a ratty old man.
I had planned a rather extensive shopping trip when we arrive in country. No doubt you'll be able to find something then.
Okay. And I'm not sure what we can get for Thor, but he does go around rather exposed. So I don't know if that will work to your advantage or not, but maybe a shirt, at least. Pants, probably pants.
I've been thinking about what to do about the matter of Thor quite a bit, actually. I still haven't figured out the best approach.
Well,
You could afford, Jarek, some flamboyance in the clothing that you choose. I assume you'll be practicing your art while we're in folk.
I could, I like to play.
Maybe a chapeau.
I grew up in the woods. Could you be more specific as to what that is?
It's a large, almost floppy hat typically with a big feather. Just don't get a black or a white feather. Those are reserved.
Oh, something for mourning?
No, sumptuary laws.
Oh.
Do they not have sumptuary laws in Giles?
As I said, I grew up in the boonies, so...
Well, you see, vanity is a particular vice in folk, and as a result, there are certain fabrics and colors that are reserved for social stations in particular, and if you are caught wearing them without being a member of that station, you are in violation of the sumptuary laws, and may be punished accordingly.
Well,
but as I said, for the most part, it's nothing that you would accidentally happen upon. You're not going to accidentally buy a doublet with literally golden thread, so nothing to be too concerned about.
Well, if you have time at some point, and he'll grab some paper and his quill, if you don't mind just giving me a list of what not to wear, perhaps whenever we make camp tonight, that'd be appreciated. Just in case, you never know.
Very well, we'll go over it.
Thank you. And
course.
I'm just gonna practice my my handwriting some more in case you need anything written up. I've been keeping up with the signature, so I'm ready if you need it.
Thank you, Jarek. I appreciate it, honestly.
Yes, well, I'm happy to be of service, my lord.
So as you all travel through the... Yes?
He nods, sort of appreciatively, almost surprised. Classing up the joint.
Yeah.
Rob, your mic is doing its thing again.
Is that better or no?
No, it's still picking up like background noise.
I think it's
Sounds
picking
like
up
the air
AC.
conditioner. Yeah.
No, I turned off the air conditioner.
That's not the end of the world. I think it's good. Anyway, so as you all travel throughout your first day, you all notice that Sarah kind of like positions herself in front of you all, and the map that she kind of showed you first, she has kind of sprawled out in her hand, and constantly as you guys are traveling, you see her looking around at all the different parts of the hallway, putting down little notes, circling little things, like writing off little notes at like point to a particular part on the road, flipping the map onto the back, writing down more notes. Like the whole entire time you guys are moving, she's scrawling all over this thing, only occasionally kind of putting it back into the little metal tube that she keeps it in. But besides that, she's very devoutly staring forward, watching every turn in the road, as like the light begins to allow you to see farther and farther, like peering ahead, seeing if there's any movements, any sounds. Occasionally, throughout the day, it almost becomes kind of commonplace after a while. You'll hear like the clattering of a few stones falling in the distance, echoing through the grand halls, or what almost kind of sounds like a scream, kind of like drifting through the air, but not quite. And then maybe like screeches or scratching from potentially talons or nails, and there's just almost like a myriad of strange noises that just kind of drift around you, unclear as to how far away they are or what the source is, but eventually you almost kind of tune it out just from the mere fact of having it like constantly kind of coming at you. But after you guys set down for the first night, setting camp up in one of the little, I guess, lock boxes is probably the best way to describe them. You set out for the second day, and about halfway through the travel of the second day, Sarah kind of like stops, looks at her map, looks around a little bit, turns around and addresses the group as a whole. Well, the beast of burden that was lost on this path is just up ahead, so if we were going to run into any carrion crawlers, it would be immediately in front of us.
How far can we see?
So, with the light from the earth fire, basically, that kind of dots the hallway, you can reasonably see as far as you would, like, on the surface, except for, like, twists and turns in the road. So maybe, like, a mile or two, but then at that point, the details are so small and finite that you can't quite figure anything out. You are just about to take that turn going straight west to straight north, and then basically you're right. Oh, I can do this. You guys are right here, like just about ready to turn. She is describing that the beast of burden was lost in the corner that turns you facing west. So that's potentially where you would run into some creatures. Well, I don't know if you all have a certain tact when moving forward into dangerous areas. I can certainly go scout ahead myself, but I don't quite know how you all function.
Do you have a recommendation? These things come out of the ground?
Generally, they are surrounding the carcass that they are focused on until their hatchlings are birthed and then grown, so I imagine that if the carcass is still there, they will be centered around that, or if their babies have found their way into the depths, that they have moved on, but I am unsure until we get the eyes on.
She is not sneaky, is she?
No.
No.
I can wander ahead.
This might be a good time for the big man to wander ahead.
I certainly won't stop you, but splitting the party or our caravan might be potentially dangerous. You never know what is hiding in the cracks and the crevices of the hallway, but if that is the decision you want to move forward with, then I will try to accompany both parties.
Well, there's no way to scout it out then?
I mean, Thor can certainly scout ahead. It's just, Sierra is in charge of getting you all to the next place alive, and letting Thor out of her sight is not the best way of making that happen, so.
I was more just planning on doing kind of what I did before, but like still being in eyesight.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what she's recommending, more or less.
But like stealthing far enough ahead that it's not like they detect the non-stealthy people before I get them.
Okay. So that's the plan, kind of moving forward, is separating yourself away from the caravan a little bit to see what you can see?
Yup.
Okay, go ahead, give me a stealth check then, sir. And a perception check.
I'm gonna dismount and let Belgrease just walk beside the wagon
And
while I walk to the front of the group.
yeah, and prior to Thor obviously going to go scout ahead, per my suggestion, I would have given him guidance. That's acceptable.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
What is
Happy
the,
to stay back
D4,
of the group.
What is that? Oh, sorry.
What is the bonus for guidance?
1d6.
Are you using that on your stealth or your perception?
Stealth.
Okay. Okay. So as, I'm going to say you're probably about like 100 or 150 feet in front of the caravan, just to like create a good amount of distance. So as you separate, you start turning the corner before the caravan, and you look to where the dead end of this hallway, ends and then turns left. And you're peering in front, and you can definitely see something in the road, basically at the point where the road veers off and turns 90 degrees. You like start, creeping forward, making sure not to like disturb any rocks or trip over anything, attempting to be as stealthy as possible. The caravan eventually, comes around the corner as well, getting eyesight on you and what's ahead. As you continue to creep more and more forward, it's almost like half an hour to an hour of you steadily approaching this object that you see in the distance. But eventually you do get close enough, and you're peering off into the dim light. It's still lit up by the green flames, but various parts of the road aren't, fully lit. And what you see far off at the end of the hallway appears to be, the best way to describe it is like a giant, slimy boulder, standing maybe about 30 or 40 feet tall. And it appears that the boulder is slowly kind of shifting and moving and wriggling as this kind of like milky white texture kind of just like very slowly just kind of like shifts around this center point in the corner of the road.
Do I only see one of them?
It's hard to tell what you're looking at. Like, it's hard to discern one thing from the next. Like, it's basically just a mound.
Okay.
And you're still a fair distance away from it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how far away am I?
If I had to give you, like, a rough guess, like 600 feet or so, like, you're
Okay.
a fair distance off.
Okay. Then I would just kind of, like, signal back to the group that, like, I can see something ahead. Really big. And then I'll just basically, like, everybody look ahead.
Mm-hmm. So Sierra would look at you and kind of look back at the party, eventually addressing Rolly and Valorn, more or less. If they are in the road, which it looks like they are, and they haven't moved on from the corpse, then they have just begun their breeding process, and they will be there for several days. So it's either wait them out or evict them.
Well, seeing as how we're doing some of the Legion's work for them, maybe we get to break on our rate for clearing a tunnel.
That is not the standard operating procedure that we go with, but if we deal with them in a decisive manner, I'll see what I can do once we arrive at our destination.
Fair enough.
I enjoy a good show just like the next woman.
I think we can provide that.
So then the tactic is to evict our friends.
Well, either that or give them 30 days' notice. It's up to you.
She kind of like looks up for a moment, looks over at Adam, and then looks over at you two. Did we have any explosive implements? Because if we could just set it into the source of what they're feeding on, and then potentially we could deal with them quite swiftly.
I don't know about explosive, but we do have something quite flammable.
She just looks around.
Translates for
Yeah, everyone translating, Jarek.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
about
you're good.
Jarek says nothing. It just waits to...
I mean, you could say it.
I mean, I'll translate what he says.
Okay, yeah. So as that is conveyed, she'll look over at Jarek and go, tiny creature, juice?
And he'll grab the fuller barrel, I guess. That would be
Okay.
the older one, I assume.
Yeah.
Kind of... And pop the lid open on that.
Okay. I mean, you'd still be met with that kind of thick layer that's kind of grown over it.
Seeing that, Jarek kind of poke through it and then try and stab through it with his dagger.
Give me a strength check?
Ouch.
Or athletics?
Oh, which one? Because there's a difference in my mind.
Athletics. Ooh. Is that the actual roll?
God. Oh, God.
Oh. So,
Nat 1 -1.
as as Sierra approaches the barrel with you, kind of looking down at the sludge, looks up at you and sees you drawing a dagger. She looks a little bit perplexed, but, is just watching the event take place. And you kind of bring the dagger, you like kind of eyeball where you're trying to aim, and you throw the weight of your arm down into this thick covering of the liquid. And as the dagger strikes the surface, your grip on the handle just isn't sure. And as it tries to twist out of your hand, it just pops free. And you see the dagger glance off of the top of it and then go spiraling off the side, clattering into the stone, kind of sliding a little bit into place and resting as Sarah just goes, "Huh.
He'll set that barrel aside and grab the second one.
Okay.
Kind of hold that one out.
So, you open that one. And again, this one had the kind of film recently broken by Valorant, so it would more or less just kind of be the familiar goop that you've seen coming off of Sparky.
Good fire here.
She looks around. Valorant or Rolly, I do not have any implement to light a fire, so if you want to demonstrate, I would appreciate it.
And I would... Well... I don't think Sacred Flame actually catches anything on fire, does it?
I don't think so, right? Yes?
Yeah, he can.
I can?
No, I can. I can light fires.
Yeah?
Do you want to?
So yeah, I think Jarek would just kind of splash a little bit out.
Okay.
I don't really know how to get it out of the thing. And then prestidigitate it on fire.
Okay. So there's a little glob of the sparky goo kind of rests in the stonework. You cast a bit of fire and you see it very quickly cover the surface of the goop and then brighten the flame up to about 3 or 4 times the size that you initially started. And she kind of looks over at it, nodding, looking at the barrel and goes, I imagine if this will cause some sort of violent reaction, then we can attempt to place it into the group and then set it alight.
Can one of y'all try and crack through this one? Hold up the coagulated goo.
Okay.
So I'll take one of the torches that is in our belongings and just see if I can jam the end of it through the crust.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an athletics check.
And then it'll at least be on a torch.
Okay. So as you kind of position yourself above the barrel, wielding the torch, you're using the butt end of it, I'm imagining, or the... Which side?
Torch end. The end that gets lit anyway.
Yeah, okay. And you begin kind of hitting the end of it onto this surface, and you see little tiny dents of it giving each time you kind of bat it with the wood. And you see it getting a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper. Occasionally bits of the cloth and the wood from the torch almost get torn off and left into this kind of thick, rough surface because you keep kind of jamming it down and jamming it down. Sarah just kind of looking on with just this vague curiosity of what is going on in front of her. Eventually you and you hear a cracking noise, and eventually the center of the film kind of gives just enough that little pieces of it begin to kind of shift out of place to allow you to really punch a rather, sizable hole in the center of it. But beneath that, it would be the regular kind of goopy liquid that comes off of Sparky.
Oh, thank you, Valorant. What do y'all think? Just light the other end and have Thor throw it?
Your guess is as good as mine. It's really is the first time we've done it, Jarek. No testing, really. Sounds like a great plan.
Why not just have Thor splash it over the pile. And then we light it.
Oh, yeah. No, that would make sense. Okay, yeah. They are how far away right now? 600 feet?
So Thor is about 150, 200 feet from you, and they're about 6, so they're about 800 feet away from you at this point.
Oh. Well, then let's get up to him and try that up.
So
Thor,
Valorant actually takes his signal whistle and just very lightly blows into it like 3 times. Just 3 short, soft whistles.
Okay, is this in the hope to get Thor's attention?
Yeah.
So, Thor, you would be able to hear them.
And I will go back to them.
Okay. So you would slowly make your way back to the group.
Yep. What's up?
We think you should splash the sparky oil on them and then we'll light them on fire. There's a good man.
Did you just start and finish the conversation for us?
It wasn't a conversation. That's what we think.
Okay. Where's this? Which barrel? Both the barrels? One of the barrels?
Derek?
Well, the old one seems to have some nasty stuff on it, so probably burn that one first. This one sloshes it around. Still looks pretty good.
Yeah, but do you want to use both? Just make sure we kill it.
No, I want to have this one just in case anything else happens.
What do you mean anything else?
I don't know, Thor. Sometimes we have to burn things. It's going to have a...
How many times have we had to burn things?
Thinking back to his cavern. Things happen, Thor.
Probably only going to half work anyway, Thor. Let's just...
In the middle of this conversation, Thor, you feel a small poke on the back of your thigh. So as you look down, you see Sparky, still wielding his little wooden shard, looking up at you. He goes, I do it! I do it!
What do you mean, Sparky? What are you doing? You're not going in there.
It's like, light! And mimics kind of throwing the barrel around.
He wants to do it. Let him do it.
He wants to do what? Throw the barrel at the thing?
Light them on fire.
Actually, we could light him on fire with the barrel, and he could just run over there.
Yes, that actually is a fantastic idea. He's quite good at that in the caves.
What? No. Do you guys see that thing?
It's big, he's tiny. The odds of it touching him are very small.
Also, there's probably others of his kind that live down here. They may not even notice.
How does that even make sense? With a big thing, it's easier to hit small things because you just hit in its general area.
Well, Thor, then go with him. Just don't get too close to him.
So your first plan was just to let Sparky go alone? And now you're like, oh yeah, you can go with him. Why don't I just throw it and then we light it?
I think that's between you and Sparky, Thor.
I really wanted to walk the 7 days alone. Okay, give me the fucking barrel.
Sparky has a natural affinity for fire. We should let him do his thing.
So, Thor, as this conversation's going on, you see Sparky digging in some of the remnants of his kind of robe that he still has on. You see his hand kind of furling around until eventually he pulls out the soggy stick of dynamite that had been returned to him without gunpowder in it. And he kind of looks at it, looks up, he goes, Big boom, matcha.
Sparky, I'm going to burst the only bubble that I believe you have. That literally has nothing in it. It doesn't blow up.
What?
Yeah.
What? He kind of looks at Jarek.
Sparky, don't listen to Thor. He doesn't understand about fire. You just do what comes naturally, okay?
Well,
Give me a
either
deception
way-
check.
What? Which was it?
A deception check. Or a persuasion, I'll let you decide. Okay.
Right, what are we lighting this with? What do I have to... I can't make a fire.
Well, here, and Jarek will pull out another torch and set that on fire. Here. Just, put it on Sparky when he's close enough, and he'll run forward and throw the thing on the thing.
No. I'm not putting Sparky anywhere near a 40, 30, however 30 T's tall thing, okay? That thing is massive. It could eat both of us.
Can someone ask Sarah how big these things normally grow?
I will relay the question.
She's kind of just been idly observing how the group functions, but is finally being addressed. Kind of looks at Thor. The adult ones range from about 20 to 30 feet long, usually about 6-7 feet in diameter, roughly. They can get bigger, they can be smaller, roughly the right size.
There, that's your answer. So big.
Oh, well, shit, yeah, the fire's not going to kill them.
Yeah, no, but if we throw it on the pile of things, as I'm assuming somebody told me, then all their babies die.
Alright, well, we need to head forward regardless.
Yes, I'm aware. Which is why I'm taking the barrel and the torch. Sparky,
Alright.
you can watch right beside me. But if those things start moving, we run.
He takes a little wooden shard, goes bonk.
Jesus, he's gonna die. Okay. What, Lord Valoran? How can I help you?
Just good luck.
Don't let my moneymaker die, Thor.
I'm just not responding. I'm walking.
So, explain to me your plan. You are sneaking up
So,
to the
yes.
pile.
I am going to attempt to have Sparky 5 to 10 feet behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the torch, which obviously has light. So let's pray to God these things don't have eyes. And then I have the barrel, and I'm going to throw the barrel at them first, and then throw the torch at them to light it.
Okay.
So throw the barrel so it breaks open, and then throw the
I
torch.
would like to recommend to the party to only be about somewhere between 60 to 100 feet behind Thor. So that way we're not on the ass end of the hallway in case this goes south.
Real quick, I would ask Sarah if she's ever fought these before.
So, I fought a fair share. Usually one at a time or with a fair amount
Okay,
of
then
allies.
Tell us about them. How do they fight?
Well, they have these poisonous tendrils that when they get a hold of you can cause paralysis, which only the hardiest of dwarfs can sustain for a small amount of time, but besides that, it's a fairly mundane ordeal. They try to bite you and swallow you when you hit them very hard with your weapon.
Should this be a hard fight for us?
I imagine that we could manage it. I just kind of wanted to see how the group functioned, and it was interesting.
It always is. You should really hang around longer, but... What is the standard operating procedure for dwarves attacking feasting carrion crawlers?
Simply, we would form some sort of wall or blockade, move forward slowly, attract their attention, hopefully one at a time comes our way, deal with them, move forward, and then crush their babies, and then deal with the problem.
Well, we could either go with the Thor and the juice solution, or...
Well, it seems that your friend is already making his way.
He's already gone.
But I appreciate you asking for my insight. That is why I am here.
That's why we pay you. In the future, do less observing and more scouting and guiding and leading the party. Thank you very much, Sarah.
I will take that into account for next time. So, Thor, you are sneaking up.
Yes, that is my stealth roll.
Let me
Are
explain one thing to you. Yes.
Behind him? Did,
What?
Is that
did
what-
we agree to follow along?
That's up to you guys.
Yes,
I
unless
got-
otherwise
I
stated.
got 2.
Okay. Yes. So the party is following loosely behind Thor. We'll go with that.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go with like 100 feet to give him some distance. So Thor, with the plan that you have laid out, throwing the barrel and then throwing the torch, there is a likelihood the barrel will not break on impact, which then would make lighting it with the torch difficult.
Okay.
Because this barrel is not designed to break.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know that it wouldn't like break if I threw it hard enough.
well, you're throwing it at flesh, which is rather soft. So,
Okay. Can I then like use my sword to like puncture a hole in the top of it? And then just like
well, it has the top open, I guess, with a small hole in that little crust thing. So some of it would like ooze out if it lands the right way.
Okay. Yeah. I see that nobody really thought of how we use it outside of, slowly dumping it on somebody.
You're in charge here. It's how you want to do it. You can always abort and go back to the party as well. That is also a decision.
Nope. You know what? To Thor, this seems like a great plan. I'm going to try to put a hole in, like, so I know there's the hole on the top or whatever. I'm going to try to also poke a hole in, like, the side.
Okay. It will be difficult to do that while trying to maintain your stealth,
Okay.
because it might make a bit of noise, breaking a hole in the wood. So as you are, I'm assuming, still stealthing forward, but kind of deep in thought, Sparky kind of like pokes you again. He's like,
I will leave a trail. And then boom!
So you're going to sneak ahead and leave a trail?
Yes.
A slime fuse.
Rolling, where the hell? How did you even see me? What the fuck is happening?
Okay.
but yeah, Sparky then like looks behind him, and you see that he's been dragging his tail around and forming little like squiggles on the earth as he walks around.
Okay, Sparky. If you are confident you can stealth ahead, then you stealth ahead, okay? Can you carry this barrel? I don't know how big the barrel is.
It's about the size of him.
Okay. So, make a trail. I will throw this at the end of that trail, and we will light it from here. Okay, but you have to come back. And if you don't come back, I'm going in after you.
He like lifts up the little piece of wood that he has and holds it out. He goes, "Keep safe."
Okay, Sparky, I will keep this safe.
To you, it's like he's putting a small splinter in your palm.
Yeah.
Gently puts it in there, kind of gives it like one last little nice touch of endearment, and then he like sinks down to the floor on all fours and begins like slowly belly crawling towards your target.
I'm giving it to Carl so he can hold it as like a staff.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay. So, I'm going to say that you're probably like maybe like 100, 200 feet away from it at this point after, moving forward, the party kind of lingering behind you, you're stealth forward. So now Sparky is just kind of very, very quietly, kind of almost sliding with the ooze across the ground towards the mound of the giant grubs that is your intended target.
And I'm like keeping an eye out on him and like the mounds to make sure that if the mounds move like toward him, I'm just running at them.
Let me go ahead and do something real quick.
Battle map.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to set up real quick. I'm going to get rid of that. You guys are back here. Oh, I forgot that Sparky, exists. I did not think he was going to join us, but I can set that up. Where is Sparky? There he is. Okay. So, everyone else is off the battle map a fair distance, but your tokens are still there. Can everyone see the map? Okay. So just so we can have a clearer idea of where you're at and how this whole situation is panning out. Okay. So Sparky is going to attempt to stealth ahead. Are you stealthing with him or kind of letting him lead?
So I'm going to let him lead. It's kind of like we just switch positions a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll stay 15 feet behind him.
Okay.
Because I just want to be ready for if something happens, to just get in front of him before he dies.
Okay, so we'll say he gets to there, you're about here. As you are getting closer to this wriggling mass, you see that now that you're closer, it's distinctly about 4 different faces that you see. Occasionally, the tendrils that kind of come off of the front of them, poking out and signifying that that's a break in one of the bodies, and then it swirls back into the mass and is kind of enveloped by the other bits of flesh. You see that their insides are semi-translucent. You see various bits of their organs and innards kind of poking through the kind of thin skin that covers them, giving them this very, grubby insect appearance, but it's this massive swirling pile of maggots basically as you continue to crawl forward. The entire time, the sound of someone smushing their food with their tongue begins to violently fill your ears, just constantly kind of growing louder as you get closer. Sparky is still on all fours, slithering forward, intently staring at the mound in front of him. I'll make you guys do one more stealth check. Oh, okay. Okay. So as Sparky continues to slither forward, you are, keeping about the same distance. Sparky is maybe about 2 or 3 feet away from his target. You see him reaching up with one of his hands to go touch one of the grubs, and as he does, your foot catches a rock as you're moving, and before you can catch it or stop yourself, you hear this tunk tunk, and then the echoing of the stone hitting the ground, kind of spreading out from the source. And as everyone kind of freezes for a moment, you look over at the mass and you see it distinctly stop moving. All of the different swirling and wriggling ceasing. Sparky kind of frozen in place as one of the faces kind of pokes out from the mass and makes eye contact with you. But it's above Sparky's head, so it hasn't seen Sparky yet. But it is making eye contact with you. You muted? Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I wasn't. Can I... So it doesn't look like it's noticing Sparky, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, then I am going to back up.
Okay. So you begin to step back, and as you do, you see the kind of remainder of its body start to lift its head up taller and taller until it's almost kind of poking out of the top of the mound, attempting to appear even larger to you as it's staring you down. You see its little tendrils kind of flicking out, kind of twirling and playing and then coming back and covering its face and then coming out again, and it's just intently staring at you, kind of watching you back away.
Yep. And I'm just gonna draw its attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I can still see Sparky, correct?
Yeah, so Sparky at this point, his hand was kind of frozen up. You see him look up at the giant grub kind of covering over him. And then you see him begin to wipe his hand on the side of them very slowly. And then as it's clear that its attention is still on you, he kind of stands up and starts rubbing his belly on the side of the grub. And then sliding his side on it. And then as it's clear that he's gotten like a fair amount of his juice kind of like on the coating, he then goes back down prone and begins to start crawling back towards you.
Okay. And I will wait for him to get back.
Okay. So he begins to make his way back, kind of doubling up on the ooze that he kind of trailed the first time. As he gets to like where the grub's head is kind of over his, he like looks up and kind of like slides to the left a little bit to like the edge of the road, kind of like puts his body up against the like little separator where the road is and where the hallway is, and just begins like neck crawling up the crevice of the road back towards you.
Okay. And I'm just gonna wait for him to be all the way back.
Mm-hmm. So eventually he would make his way back next to you. He kind of looks up at you, looks back at the grub, he goes,
Yes,
Yeah. You ready?
yes, light.
Okay. And I'll pop off whatever cork or whatever is part of this.
oh, well, it's just an open barrel with the...
Oh, okay. So I can... How close can I... Like,
How far is this distance?
What?
You could probably throw it that far.
Okay. I'm gonna get, like, 10 feet closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I will... Basically... Oh, I'll give Sparky a stick back.
Okay.
And then, okay, Sparky, here goes nothing. And I will, basically just like one after the other, throw the barrel and then throw the torch.
Okay. So
My two
before Thor does this, how far does the party want to be from Thor at this point?
I'd like to be as close to 60 foot as possible.
Okay, how far is that? Okay, so I'll say that you guys are like 30 feet off the map to make it easy. And actually here, I'll go ahead and do... Oh no, wrong tool. This. So you guys can understand when you're off the map and then back on the map. Good?
We can see when he throws the barrel.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are not that far away right now watching him do all these actions.
So when he throws it, I would like to hold my left arm to my chest in almost this saluting way, and then a shimmer passes through my torso as I cast protection from poison.
Duration. So the duration is, an hour. Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And as
Okay.
and I'd like to also, as I see him throw it, at that point, I'm gonna try to run actually as close to right behind Thor as I can.
Okay.
So I forgot that he made a trail, so I don't have to throw the torch. I can just light it. So I'm gonna give the
Yeah,
torch.
I was gonna wonder if you
Yeah, I figured that out. So I'm just gonna give the torch to Sparky, and I'm gonna let him do the honors.
Okay. So let's go ahead and roll initiative, because I know this is gonna occur in that. So for those of you controlling people, which I think is just... Oh no. Yeah, Jarek, you would have Adam. And then Rolly, you have Sarah. Go ahead and roll initiative for them. Oof.
My big old...
Sparky?
Huh?
So the 8 is for me, and
Okay.
This next one will be for Sarah. And
Okay.
we got a 14.
Oof.
And Sparky gets a 4, and I have a nat 1.
Okay, so the highest is Thor at 16. Then Rolly, that's Sarah's roll, is the 14.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's next after that? Rolly. No, Valorant, then Rolly, then Jarek. No, Sparky. Val, Rolly, Sparky, and then Jarek here at the bottom.
The very bottom.
Okay, let's see what they get. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and get some better music going in here. Okay. Thor, give me an athletics check.
I was gonna say, can I like, if I know that we're about to basically fight this?
Pre-rage?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Right. As I'm entering this rage, I'm just be like, stupid fucking fart, they're tripping. I'll just throw it. Athletics, you said?
Yeah, athletics.
Okay.
Okay. So, as you hand the torch down to Sparky, who's now holding it with like both of his black beady eyes alit with excitement as he's just staring into the flame of the torch, you take the cask, there's the little hole left in the little film and the cask itself. You kind of eyeball it a little bit, hurl it up into the air, and you see it kind of like whoop, 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 like rotating into the air, hitting the mass. You see it almost like falling into a little crook of the like kind of varying like crawling bodies, and as it does, you see the side of it kind of splinter a little bit open, a bunch of the ooze kind of like coming out of the side of it, but not enough to kind of like shatter it across. But as you do, you see Sparky like look up and go,
Go,
and then dips his head down, placing the torch into the little goo, and you see it quickly dancing across this kind of slimy surface, trailing up towards the massive grubs, crawlers, whatever you want to call them at this point. And as you do, you see the 4 distinct bodies kind of separating. And as you do, this massive, almost unrecognizable skeletal form is beneath them. And you see what almost looks like giant, bulging sacs coming from inside of the bones themselves, kind of making this almost like translucent, like sack made out of the bone itself and kind of dripping a little bit. And you see hundreds of these little sacs all over the skeletal form, and just as you get a glimpse of that, you see the flames kind of licking up the goo that is seeping from the barrel and eventually kind of slipping inside. Daniel, go ahead and roll me a 1d6. I'm gonna roll 1d8 for the damage. Fantastic. So 1.
Best laid plans.
So, as you see the flames licking into the cask and the grubs kind of separate themselves from the pile, you see the flame go in, and there's just like silence for a split second as you're kind of waiting in anticipation for the massive explosion that's going to occur. And then you see the grubs starting to like kind of separate. You're like, and now. And then you just see like a little small glob of sparky goo ejaculate shooting out of the little hole in the top of the film, kind of splattering on the side of one of the grubs and just leaving a small kind of burning circle on the side of its skin as the grubs now fully depart from their mound and begin to prepare to charge forth at you. They're going to take 1 point of burning damage each round if that makes you feel better. So
I'm just gonna look down at Sparky, shaking my head. Sparky, I thought this. JD put so much time into this. This is so stupid. Okay. And then.
So, yeah, Thor, you're going to be first up with Sarah is going to be next.
Okay, let's see. So. Okay.
Remember that your allies are still off the map.
I am indeed aware. Since I still have the Onyx Shield pendant, I guess I'll activate that. Is that a bonus action, I believe?
I can't remember what I said it as.
Can't.
Jarek, do you remember? I thought it was an action. But I might be
It is an action. No, command word as a bonus action, cause it to animate.
Bonus action then.
Okay, gotcha. Then for my bonus action this round, I will say Shalom. I will run forward because I'm pretty sure this is. Oh, I don't have control of my character.
Did I not give you guys control?
I don't have it, at least.
I must have forgotten. Though I did not do it for anyone else, did I? let me go ahead and do that. My bad. Continue.
Okay.
You should be good.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And I am raging already. So I would like to make an attack against these things.
Okay. Just the first one in front of you?
Yup.
Okay.
With Shard's Edge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Those are both hits.
Okay. And that is 15 and 15.
Okay. Let me go ahead. I forgot to give him his 1 point of damage. So let me do that.
Yeah, that can make a difference.
So as the mass begins to separate and you yell out Shalom, you hear next to you go, Shalom! And then you go charging forward down the road, facing this massive, almost like, I don't know, boy band of grubs as you come storming forward and you slash out with your sword. You cleave a long gash across its like exterior and you see the flesh almost kind of separating before your blade meets it, spilling out this like nasty, vicious ichor that quickly fills your nose and like overwhelms your senses. It's this horrible, putrid, nasty smell that you would only really relate to like rotten flesh and death. As that's kind of assaulting your nose, you kind of swing wildly with your second one, leaving another gash with more of its innards starting to spill out. And you see it kind of like craning up, its tendrils like whipping around violently as it lets out this almost like screeching, cawing sound with its like almost like sharp beak lips, and then like stares back down at you as its tendrils flare out like a giant fan.
Oh boy. And that is my action, bonus action, and movement. So I believe that concludes my turn. Okay, well, yeah. Bye.
Okay. Sarah, you are up. Valorant, you are next.
Okay. So she is. Okay, I don't have. Do I have?
You should have control.
All right. How far can I move her with a 25-foot movement?
So it's 30 feet to get her on the map, so you'd have to move and dash 5 feet, and then you'd have 20 more feet of dash.
Well, then that is what we do, and I should have her there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the end of her turn.
Yep. Valorant, you're up with Worms going next.
So a double move, I think 60 feet, which I think the first 30 gets me on the map. Is that right?
Yep.
So there, and now 10, 20, 30?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Thor, as you were the only presentable target, a lot of the combatants or insects that you're fighting, not even realizing that there are more people around, are just going to begin to converge on you more or less. How do they want to do this? That one's probably going to go there. No, there. No, this is hard to do with large creatures. There? Sure, that works. They're basically just going to surround you. You see them kind of like slopping onto their sides and wiggling and rolling around you, and you quickly realize that you are being almost enveloped before all of them lash out at you. Your AC is 17 now with the pendant? Yes. Okay. So they get 2 attacks each, and the first one's going to be a tentacle, the second one's going to be about... Okay. You're going to have to do a lot of consecutive con saves, I imagine, but we'll see how this goes. Okay. So that is a hit. I need to keep track. Actually, let's do this one at a time so I don't... Okay. That's not good. Okay.
Fine.
So, the first tentacle hits. It deals... Let me go ahead and do this. This is a lot of dice rolling. Picking up 1d4s is not easy. There we go. It's going to deal... You're raging, so 2 damage. And then you failed the con save. So you were now poisoned and paralyzed. Poisoned, I think, gives you disadvantage on attack rolls and ability scores, if I remember that correctly. And then paralyzed basically leaves you paralyzed.
Auto crit.
Yeah. And you got on the first one. You can attempt to re-save at the end of each of your turns. Okay. So at the end of your turn, you can try to do the con save again. But yeah, so now they're just going to start hammering on you. So his second attack is It's going to be his bite.
You have advantage
Yeah.
for like multiple
So-
reasons, but
Yeah. So it's just advantage, right, as far as I'm aware, with
It's
you being
advantage.
paralyzed.
advantage and then an auto crit. If
Is
you
it?
hit. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. This is going to be a lot of rolling. Oh my, why'd you do this to me, Danny?
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so that's a hit. It's an auto crit. It's 2. I need another. I don't like math, guys. This is why I like fudging rolls or something. Ugh. Let's see. That is 7 halved. So you would take 3. Oh, I know, because it's critting. So that is 10 plus 2, so that's 6. You take 6 damage. Okay. And then the next one up, we'll go for an attack. It is going to hit. It is going to do 2, 4, 3 damage. Second attack hits. It's going to do 6 damage. So that's the second one. Now the third one. His first attack is going to hit. It's going to do 2, 4, 2, 3 damage. Second attack hits. This is 5, 10, 6 damage. And then the last one. That one misses that one. This one hits the second one. Oopsies. Which is 6 more damage. Okay. So as you all go charging forward, seeing Thor racing into the combat, you quickly see this massive mound of grubs dispersing and quickly surrounding your friend. And as he reaches out and slashes and finds himself completely surrounded, you see one of the tendrils coming from one of the grubs and wrapping around his torso and actually making contact with his skin. And as you see it fully commit to the grip, you see Thor basically just shoot straight, all of his muscles kind of tensing in place as he is left just stood there. And as he's left in this odd stasis that makes him look almost like statuesque, you see the other writhing worms and grubs lash out tentacles and bites. You see chunks of his flesh and large red welts growing on his skin as he's just left there to be absolutely assaulted by this swirling mass of enemies. And we are to roll it.
Okay, so dash, or not dash, but if I'm, so 25 foot of movement would put me just off the screen.
Yeah, you would be 5 foot off the screen.
And let me check the range on. Sorry, I don't have any long range heals. Are we 120 feet away?
Yeah, I think you're certainly within range of 120, yeah.
Okay, so the one that's closest to us was the one that he did 31 points of damage to.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, let me go ahead and I forgot to do this.
I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt at. I'm gonna do it at 3rd level.
Okay.
Let's see here. Here's my roll.
That's a 12 for a hit.
Okay.
No, 12 is a miss. That was your attack roll, is a 12. Yeah, so that's a miss.
Okay.
Sorry, man. Anything else you got?
My 3rd level spell just fizzles.
So then we have Sparky with Jarek coming up at last.
Yeah, Sparky's worried, but given that he is just a baby, I think Sparky will reach down into the flames next to him, light himself on fire,
Mm-hmm.
and then back the hell up. I cannot control him, but he moves 15 feet backwards.
I thought I gave it to you. Yeah, I did. You should be able to control him.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm on
You're good.
a different tool. Okay. So,
But yeah, Valorant, as you're racing forward, your eyes kind of intent on Thor, you just see Sparky kind of dip down. As he comes back up into your vision, you just see his whole body lit with flame. He kind of like looks over at you with a wide smile.
and then he shuffles back.
Yeah. So then, Jarek, we're to your turn, sir.
Okay. Lovely. Full movement gets me to that square, as I recall, 30 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then 5, 10, 20, 25, 30. He'll dash up to here.
Wait, want to interrupt you real quick. You cast that poison resistance on Thor, right, Valorant?
No, on
On
me.
yourself?
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry, continue.
And then...
It's a touch spell. There was no way.
Gotcha. Yep.
Okay. And I don't believe that does anything to... No, it doesn't. Okay. Only helps if you die. Okay, and then go ahead and... Looking at Thor... They're right where you want them, Thor. You still got this. And give him some bardic inspiration, which is a D8 at this time.
So yeah, Thor, as you are frozen in place, you hear the familiar voice of Jarek trailing into your ear as lots of pain begin to like shoot off across your body. Just hears, "You got this, Thor."
And you can use that for ability checks or saving throws.
So Thor, it is your turn, sir. And you basically can't do anything except
Yeah.
attempt to save at the end of your turn, yeah. But you do have bardic inspiration now. Hey!
Do I need it?
No, you don't. You just had to beat a 13, so you're good.
Okay, cool.
So, as you feel this pain and you hear the inspiration reaching your mind, you're like, oh no, and you kind of break out of it by yourself, but still retain the inspirations bestowed upon you.
Okay, cool.
But that is the end of your turn, though.
Yeah.
So then we are to Sarah with Val running up next.
Okay. 3, 4, 5. And dash to 4, and she'll just get ready for the next round.
Yep. Valorant, you're up.
So 30 feet will get me right behind her. We've discussed this in the past. Any issues with attacking over her head?
No, especially a dwarf should be fine. What's the aura around you? Is that the poison thing?
No, that is my aura of courage, I believe it's called.
Okay.
Those within it have +5 to their saving throws.
Nice.
And so he charges up behind Syrah, and in almost this chuckling voice, he says in Dwarven, "Die in the dark," and lashes out at the carrion crawler.
Okay, go for it, sir. That is a hit. Okay,
Number
just
2?
straight 12. Yep, that's a hit. Okay, that second attack will do it.
Just a question. Does he get advantage because they're all engaged with me?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm just curious.
You can go ahead and re-roll if you get criticals, but you don't really need it.
Oh, that was the damage. Ignore that.
You're good.
Let's just, if either of these are 20, no? Okay.
No. Okay. So yeah, the 21 total damage you're dealing will be enough to finish it.
All right.
So, as you see Sarah charging up, she grabs the great axe from her back, which, almost like disproportionately sits in front of her. It's much larger than a stout woman, dwarf would wield. I cannot get that terminology right, but that's fine. And she's preparing to like do battle with this massive maggot as it's like swirling around intent on Thor. And she's like winding back for the cleave as you come charging up. And with 2 quick decisive slices in your small outburst, you dispatch the grub as more of its kind of like disgusting ichor like shoot out of the gashes that you've left behind. It crumpling down to the ground as the tendrils like fall around its face like this kind of spaghetti-like wig. And Sarah just turns around and he goes, and turns back around to face the next grub. Is there anything else you got, sir?
No, that's it.
Okay. So now we're back to Wormboy's turn. So you were no longer paralyzed, correct, Thor? Okay. And Valorant just
Still 17.
murdered one. What are they gonna do? I think they're still gonna try and beat on Thor because they kind of like have you in their grips.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just okay. So first attack, ooh, that's a crit, so that hits. Go ahead and give me a con saving throw.
23.
Okay, so you succeed on this, but you do take 5 points of damage. Then it bites you, and it misses. And then the second one's going to attack you. That is a hit. Give me a con saving throw. Okay, does 1 damage to you. It's going to bite you, and it hits, doing 4 damage to you. And then last one, tentacles, miss, bite, misses. So you are unparalyzed, allowed to actually like, bat around and move and duck, and you get little random nicks and jabs, but each tentacle that hits you and grabs your skin, the quick paralysis that kind of surges forward, you almost just kind of like rage through it. Their tentacles kind of like, I don't know, ripping from your skin, aggravated that they don't have any sort of effect on you, as you again keep just getting kind of picked at. And now we're to Rolly.
Okay. And Rolly is... So this would put him the next move would put him there.
Yeah.
And
that's 5 feet of movement.
And then there's 25 feet of movement. And
yep.
Let me see, pull out my ruler. Perfect. So right next to Thor, I'm going to cast, what do you call it? Words are hard. At second level, spiritual weapon.
Okay. Is it the mug again?
It's always the mug.
Okay.
And
mug.
And now, if I cast it, it can attack, and then I still have a bonus action?
Yes. No, bonus action is attacking with it, right? I really need to know these rules.
Oh yeah. So you create a floating spectral weapon with a range that lasts for the duration until you cast a spell again. When you cast a spell, you can make a melee spell attack against a creature within 5 feet of the weapon. When you cast the spell, you can make a melee attack. Yes.
Okay.
So not a bonus. And on hit, the target. All right. So. So
is
yeah.
that your attack roll?
That is my attack roll. So. No, I'm rolling.
Does he get the advantage?
Oh yeah, because they are engaged with you. Yeah, he would get advantage.
So, why did it? I didn't know I rolled anything.
No, you're good. So you rolled the 1, but then you rolled the 17 with advantage. We'll go with that 12 damage roll.
Sure.
Works for me. Okay.
Right.
So Thor. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm attacking the one to the furthest right.
Gotcha.
And then,
so Thor, is your.
And then hold on, as a bonus action. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're still describing my attack.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. So yeah, Thor, as you come out of your paralysis and you feel various lashes hitting your body, you see the familiar congealing blue energy beside you, as the spiritual tankard comes back into existence. And right as one of the maggot farthest to your right comes to like lash in for its bite, you see it pound into its mouth, the kind of like hard beak-like mouth that it wields, kind of being twisted to the side and shoved through the flesh a little bit as the spiritual weapon kind of swirls and returns back to its original position But yes, you do deal 12 decisive damage to that grub, sir.
And that
Okay.
was your
And
bonus
then
action.
the bonus action, I'll cast.
Because you casting spiritual weapon is a bonus.
Is a bonus action. So you still have an action.
No, I did it as my primary action. Right?
No. So like the spell, you can cast it. Like the cast time is a bonus action. So if you want to, you can cast it as a bonus action.
Yeah, I don't want to cast it as a bonus action. As a bonus action, I'm gonna heal your dumbass.
Okay. Well, I'm just like.
And let's see here. That is 10 points of healing for Mr. Thor.
Did you want to take that first roll?
Why is it doing that? Yeah, I
Because
guess.
that was your first roll.
Yeah,
We'll
I'll take
that.
it. No, don't worry.
Okay.
I'll take it. Yeah.
All right. Well, gotcha.
So you heal 12 HP, Thor.
All right.
Is that all you got, sir?
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, so then Sparky, then Jarek.
Thor's unbloodied. Just
I think Sparky will move just next to the statue. He's gonna stay safe. These are big things, and they may be worms, but they're bigger than his mouth
For now.
for now. And that'll be Sparky.
Yeah. You can basically skip Sparky's turn if you don't have anything for him.
Yeah, that's all he's gonna do is hide.
Yeah. So, Jarek, your turn, and Thor, you're up next.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry. I got it. My bad.
25. I'll move up to here. Okay, fun stuff. Alright, how hurt is Thor looking?
He said that he's unbloodied, so that's about all the information that you can get from him.
Okay. That'll work. And let's see, that one's gonna attack this one. Okay. Jarek will look at the leftmost
Mm-hmm.
and yell out, I don't know, exsanguinate something, I don't know, and cast Mind Sliver.
Okay.
That needs to be a intelligence. Yes, intelligence saving throw of 14.
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna... No, it failed. Okay.
Okay. It will take 7 points of psychic damage,
Okay.
and on its next saving throw, it must subtract a 1d4 before the end of my next turn.
Okay. Sure. Red dot. Remind me what that means when we get there.
Easy enough. And then as a bonus action, I'll go ahead and spew out some white goo from my belly button and heal Thor for... where's my...
Do I have to accept healing, or can I?
I mean, it's going to spray on you whether you wanted it or not. And 4 points of healing goo gets
Yes,
splashed.
Thor, as you are getting ready to get back into the action, some of the lashing that kind of like got on your back from the various tendril attacks, you feel a glob kind of hit it and then seep through the lashes on your back and then slowly begin to heal the skin back into place.
I'll just like, it's kind of like one of those moments where you're in the heat of the moment and you're just like, oh. No,
And then it is your turn, Thor.
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 All right, well, Thor's gonna take his turn. He's gonna hit him.
Which one are you aiming for?
The one on my left.
Okay. 12 is a miss.
All right, that's fine. And actually, wait, I have Bardic Inspiration. So D6 is a 15 hit.
15 is a hit.
D8? Oh, okay.
No,
Oh.
but that's
Who
fine.
cares? It's 13 damage.
Okay.
And then, hold on. And then with my, can I do the gem shooty thing? Is this second attack?
Yeah, it's an action, so.
Okay.
And if it's an attack action, so.
Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do that.
Okay.
Can I get it so that I can make a line with these two, like these two right here?
Yeah, they're kind of like intertwined, so I'll allow that. Yeah.
Okay. So remind me again. I just roll and then I add my dexterity, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna roll a d20 because that's easiest.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's 11.
No, it's 9.
Oh, that is a miss, sir.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But you can bonus action recall it as well.
I am aware. That is what I will do.
Okay.
And I'll do the same thing because one day it'll work.
You can't succeed at everything, my friend. Well, so he'll take 11 points of damage from the first slash. So, as 13. Sorry, my bad. Thank you for correcting me. So, as the various grubs are lashing out at you again, you strike a decisive blow, and with these consecutive, good hits, you decide now is the time to really test your might, and you send forth your blade as it shatters into its pieces and shoots through the air, and the grubs almost like part like the Red Sea for a moment as all the metal shards go through them, and you curse and you go, and you pull it back, and as you have the shards racing forward, you can see like just a hint of them through the translucent skin of the grub, and you're like, yes, it's gonna hit, and as it comes sailing through, they just wiggle just enough again for the shards to go sailing through them and back into your blade, leaving them unharmed from your special ability.
Fantastic. That is my turn. I appreciate your patronage.
So, Sarah, you are up. Valorant, you are on deck.
All right. So Sarah's going to move forward 1. And with her great axe, she has a reach of 5 feet. So
5 feet of reach means like next square. 10 feet means 2.
So she should be able to hit this one?
No. You have 5 feet reach means you have to be next to it.
Yeah.
10 feet reach means that you have the square.
So you have to be on the mug.
Yeah.
All right. Can she occupy space with the
Yeah, I think you can occupy the space of spiritual weapon, yeah.
Then at that point,
She could do her little Beyblade attack and kill Thor.
yeah, I'll do a double attack on the one to the just north of me. So
Okay.
let me see her. She's got +6 to hit, and it's 1d12 +4. All right.
Yep.
And you have advantage.
Oh yeah, it is engaged with Thor, so you'd have advantage.
6.
So is Valorant, so that is.
All right. So, and I'll roll 2 of those. All right. There we go.
Okay. It did it wrong, but that's fine. It's 12 plus 6, 18 is a hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then it's 1d12 +4. Is that the?
Yep.
All right. All right. So, awesome. 6, and I'll go ahead and roll another attack roll.
With advantage.
All right. So there's 1. There's 2.
Okay, 19 will hit.
All right. So at 6 and a 9, so 15 points of damage.
15? Okay. So, Valorant, as you cleave one of the grubs down, you see its body kind of like falling to pieces with the structural integrity kind of disregarded at this point. She looks back with a kind of frustration, kind of like reaffirms her grip on her axe, and then starts stomping through the remains of the grub in front of her with this kind of defiant look on her face. And you just hear this like metallic squelching as her feet land on the various bits of this grub, and then just heaves 2 large strikes against the grub in front of her, leaving similar damage to what you had managed with your opponent. And as she lands a second one, she kind of like cocks her head back and she goes, "That's how you do it!" And then like heaves the axe onto her shoulder, very confident with her display. That was 15 points of damage, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so he is now bloodied. And it is Valorant's turn.
So this terrain on the right, is that like elevated
Yeah.
or difficult in some way?
So, to do this quickly, this is a cliff right here. And like this area down here is about 10 or 15 feet down. It's like a small bridge that you guys are on right now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell.
All right. Then Valoran is going to move here and square up with Red Dot guy. I don't remember what the red dot means.
He has disadvantage on saving throws.
No, he has 1d4
Oh.
subtracted from his next saving throw before the end
Gotcha.
of my turn.
Gotcha.
So squaring up with this one, and Valoran sort of seethes. Come on! And his glaive whooshes through the air.
That is a hit.
I'm trying.
Oh, with advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, those hit.
That'll be the first and second attack, if you don't mind.
Yep.
And there's damage 1 and damage 2.
Mhm.
And then his bonus attack with the butt end.
Okay. Also roll that with advantage, I would imagine, right? Because you are flanking.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep. Okay, so that 18 hits.
And there's the damage, and let's do a level 1 smite for that, which I think is just 2d8 radiant.
Okay. So that is 31 total.
Sounds good. I wasn't counting.
I think I got it right. So as Sarah lands her axe on her shoulder and looks back at you, you just kind of stride over to the other grub, wielding your own glaive and leashing your violence onto this insect. And she kind of her mouth gets a little bit slack as she watches you just violently rip one slash, then the next, and then she sees you're attaching the smite to your third attack, correct?
Yeah, I like putting it on the cap end. Just
So as you land your second slice and the butt end of your glaive is coming out, she sees the kind of white energy trailing behind the small metal cap at the end before you puncture it into one of the eyes of the grub, and you see the black liquid that is contained within the small sack burst out, kind of splaying down the bottom of your glaive and onto the wood, and you see the grub kind of wiggling a little bit, the slashes kind of causing the structural outside exoskeleton of it to crumple, and then all of the ichor kind of oozes out in one giant gush, kind of getting on your boots and trailing past you as it just collapses into a giant pile of jello, basically. And he is dispatched. And now it's Worm's turn. What do you say, boys? We gonna run? No, we're not gonna run. Okay, you're defending your babies. I guess we'll do one on Sarah, one on Thor. That's what makes the most sense. So Sarah's AC was 17, if I remember correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tendril attack on her. That is going to be a hit. Go ahead and give me a con saving throw. Just add her con modifier to a d20.
do you think she would get the +5 where she's standing?
She gets advantage, and it's +5. So.
Yeah, she already gets advantage. But just as a ruling, I would say she's in that zone. That's
No.
touching the square.
As a dwarf, she gets advantage on. Poison. Never mind.
Yeah, but she also gets, I think, advantage on saving throws against Underdark creatures, which these count as Underdark creatures. So she would have advantage no matter what. But
All right, so I add one to those.
Yeah.
Or mine. So
yeah, no, she saves. That's fine. All right, so she's going to take 4 points of damage, and it's going to attempt to bite her, and that misses. And then we're going to tentacle attack Thor. That has a hit. Give me a con saving throw, Thor.
Just a PS. That's my reaction.
Oh, because it's attacking.
Yup. Attacking an ally.
16 hits, and that's 19 damage.
Yup.
Jesus Christ. So, as you see the tendril kind of wrapping around the forearm of Sarah, she lets out a little bit of pain, and she rips the tendril out with her pulling away. And as it's kind of exposed itself, reaching forward to attack her, you just swing your sword around in this massive overhead arc and leave a giant thick gash across more or less what you would say its neck is, leaving more putrid bile kind of spilling out. It's still standing, but it is very shaky. You do succeed on that con save, and you take 1 damage. And we'll get you. And then it's going to try and bite you, which it misses. So, actually, wait a second. You are engaged with the one you just reacted against, right? So it would have advantage on you. Hey, it hits. I'll take it.
If it makes you feel better, yes.
I mean, that's how I would rule it in your guys'
That's
zone.
fine.
4 damage.
Wait, hold on. Just in case. Okay. Because technically the worm attacked her, so now I have advantage on that worm because it's big.
Okay, I got you.
Just making sure I don't nat 20 there.
Yep. So, okay, you got your reaction. She took a little bit damage, you took a little bit damage. You're both squaring off with the remaining maggots, and we are down to Rolly with Sparky coming up, but Jared coming up. So, Rolly, it's your turn, sir.
Okay. He will move forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see. The one on the right, I will cast Toll the Dead.
Okay.
And it's a wisdom saving throw of 16.
Well, these grubs are incredibly wise, Rolly. It fails.
Okay. And since it's already damaged, that's... There we go.
Okay, that's 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you come racing forward, the combat's still kind of taking place just outside of your grasp. You begin to close the distance, ringing out the spiritual bell as you focus your intent on the grub that you've seen battered by Sarah. And as you hear the spectral bell begin to ring, echoing in this large, massive cavern that you find yourself in, you know, kind of reverberating around the little caves that split off and coming back around, you see the grub's attention turn from Sarah up to you, its eyes locking as it begins to visibly shake all over the thin skin that contains all the bile, kind of rippling almost like a slow moving lake surface, and its eyes itself begin to kind of mutate into these kind of oblong, almost like oval-like shapes before all of a sudden the entirety of its skin just bursts with all of the pressure, and bile goes shooting out, covering Sarah, covering Thor, landing down in the ditch as your spectral bell continues to ring, even the remaining bits of its small exoskeleton still shivering in the pile of goop that it leaves behind.
Awesome. See Rolly just look a little pleased with himself and then reach forward, and with his hand you see him guide forward the mug of ale, which I'd like it to go behind the worm right there.
Okay.
And swing and try and hit that.
Yep, you got advantage on that.
All right, so we'll roll twice then.
That hits.
All right, and then that is... There we go.
6 damage. Good stuff.
Wait,
So you see the mug.
yeah. It didn't add my modifier. It's 1d6 plus 5, or 1d8 plus 5, so it's 11.
11, gotcha. Okay. So as you see the mug kind of spiraling around, the grub's focus is still intent on Thor. As you just kind of batter the backside of its skin, seeing a little bit of the small translucent shell that it has, kind of like cracking and chipping away ever so slightly as you continue to beat down on it. But now we're to Jarek, unless you want Sparky to do anything.
Yeah, he can hide.
Gotcha. Hiding while on fire. Effective.
You never know. So looking at these things, they seem to be pretty easy to kill in certain senses. Sure, go ahead and throw out a second level guiding bolt.
Okay.
And
That hits.
what in God's name? That's way too many dice. No? Okay, that was... Okay. 16? Yeah, and just from his stomach erupts just a beam of light that hits that thing straight in the face.
Yeah, as the tendrils are kind of like coming down on you, Thor, and you're still beating them away, you see this bright light shoot over your shoulder and begin to like basically cover the right side of the grub's face, leaving this like bright blue glittery kind of residue on the outside of it. One of the eyes kind of like being shoved around in its socket as it's letting out that like screech again as the pain continues to burn until the whole bolt is actually spent and it turns back to you with the glowing residue basically.
And advantage on the next attack roll.
Yep. Anything else, sir? Okay, Thor, you're up.
Alright. So angrily at my sword, I will basically just yell at my sword. And I will say, "You will work!" And then I will start with throwing it out so that I have advantage on the hit.
Okay.
Okay, I imagine that hits, but yeah, okay. Thank God.
Okay. Yeah, 18 hits.
Plus
Well, plus
2.
Yeah,
So 20.
that will hit.
And then let me know if this rolls.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Okay, so that's 12 going out.
Yep. And then draw that thing back in.
Without advantage this time.
Indeed. I don't care. It hit it anyways. And then I will recklessly attack it. Which I don't think I needed, but that does 11 damage.
Okay. Oh, okay. So as you see the blue residue glowing on its face, you look back and see Jarek and kind of like get the good idea in your mind, pulling the sword out, and you send forth the shards, and you see it quickly shooting through the side of its face, basically like puncturing holes in all of the glowing skin that it has. You see the shards shoot out, and you pull them back with confidence, sure that this will be the decisive strike you need, as the thing whips its head back in pain, and the shards come flying back into your sword. You kind of angrily like, and reach out, slash again, and where the skin and the goo was already kind of seeping out of the multiple small slices you left in the first strike, you land another blow, basically cleaving the face of this grub in two, splitting the top half of it open as it almost becomes like a wacky inflatable armed salesman whipping around as goo is being sprayed in large arcs all over the immediate area before it collapses deflated on the ground. And you have dispatched all your enemies.
Thor will just...
And I think that's where we're going to end the session.